All right, hello and welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Hunter the Reckoning tonight, and not only are we playing it, but we are finishing it. At the very least, it's going to be our season 1 finale, is what we're calling it. We're planning to come back at some point later this year, maybe. We'll see how it goes, but yeah, we're going to finish up this arc of our chronicle. Your city lies in dust. We'll figure out where this is going to end. Sadly, we are down Ashley tonight, but she said that we should go on and do it. And so we are. And as Aaron pointed out, well, I think Ashley's going to survive tonight. I think that's going to work. Yeah. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, this is, I think, episode 14 or 13. I think we've done 13 episodes of this. And then there was that session 0 we did as well. So, but yeah, we're all done. Lots of new games coming on the channel. Most recently, this past week or so, we've got 2 new games on the channel. We started up Blade Runner. We started up Horror on the Orient Express for Call of Cthulhu. And next month, both Steven and Aaron are going to be bringing new games to the channel as well. As the next time you see our Hunter crew, Aaron will switch over and he'll be in the GM seat. In a couple weeks on Tuesdays, Steven will get back to run some games for us as well. So lots of cool new stuff coming down the pike here in 2023. But before we get to the new stuff, we got to finish the old stuff. So why don't we go ahead and do that? And for the last time for this season, why don't we introduce characters? And we'll start with soon to be divorced Alvin Tao. Tell us about Alvin Tao there, Long.
Yes, Alvin Tao, man in his late 30s, master at the Fist of Harmony dojo. He's master in judo. His only desire right now is to find Celie because now he knows she's missing.
His only desire, huh? Only desire is to find.
Actually, it'd be becoming a judo master is probably number 1, and then
yeah, that makes more sense. Yeah, that makes more sense. We were talking beforehand how, and it's in the summary I wrote up, right? How you told your wife that, oh, I'm coming, and then he just totally didn't come when he turns out that your daughter's missing. Oh, father of the year right here, this guy. Yeah, you're looking at the big picture, right? You're looking at the big picture. All right, and then next up, because Linda Smith is not here, we'll shoot down to the bottom row. Aaron, tell us about Rust.
Come closer. Yes, I have to be able to see you. I want to tell you a story. Our story begins with a young boy wailing in terror, wallowing in the blood of his family and his own tears. But in truth, he wasn't that important. We don't even know his name. He did not survive the opening chapters. Next, we see ourselves in darkness. Cold, frozen, dead darkness. Wrapped and restrained in webs of shadows and razor blades. And our screams, they are the cacophony that surrounds us. And then a light takes and pulls a man out of that darkness. It's a sister and a doctor. They've saved him. But it's the sister who will make him a weapon in her war. Yes, he will become her vengeance. But her people would not accept that, so she casts him to the street to fight his war alone. And you may be asking yourself, was that Quixote Rust? Is that the weapon? But I think you should be asking yourself, perhaps, am I Quixote Rust? Or maybe even more importantly, was there ever a Quixote Rust? Or is there simply me?
Well done. Well done. And then we will go over having to follow that for the final time. We'll switch up the seats next time we play Hunter. So Melissa's not having to follow that every time. But now we have Melissa. Melissa, tell us about Maria. And can you whip your glasses off?
I could, but that's just copying, and like you gotta have your own thing. You know, just gotta
like move them up slightly and fix your hair with them. Or something.
throw him at the top of my head and drop him back
Yeah.
down. So Maria's a plumber. That's what she does day in and day out. She had a mentor, and that mentor was killed. And she has a sister, and that sister is possibly missing. And we were talking before the stream about how like her ambition has to do with money. And she has less of it than when this chronicle started. So we'll see if she finds like a bag of cash somewhere and feel like she got that goal out of this chronicle.
I have to put loot in this game? What? What are we playing? The World of Darkness game. I'm putting loot in here. Okay. Fair enough. Okay. I like how you're like, I have a sister and she might be missing. Didn't we, speaking of, because we're trashing Alvin for a bit. So you were speaking with your locksmith friend who said that your sister was ghosting him or didn't respond to him. Did you ever actually call your sister immediately afterwards? Exactly. So maybe you lay off Alvin a little bit. Just saying.
That's why might be is the key word there.
Yeah. The only person who we can really say is a good family man, I would imagine, is the Reverend Wood, because he went to great lengths to help his family. So
I did.
Steven,
I sent my kids away on a helicopter.
absolutely. It's a shame.
All right. I am the Reverend Dr. Solomon Wood, and I'm here to tell you that there's no greater weapon against this world of darkness than to have faith in the Lord above. The scripture has long prophesied the end of times that have since arrived. As it was written, your dead will live, their bodies will rise, that those who dwell in the dust wake up and shout, for the earth will give birth to her dead. The earth will disclose the bloodshed on it, and the earth will conceal its slain no longer. Isaiah 26, verses 19 through 21. As a good shepherd, I cannot and I will not stand idly by while the wolves prey upon my flock.
Well done. However, we haven't actually been doing any werewolves. It's been a vampire story. I'm not sure if you really...
It's metaphorical. The Bible's all about shepherds and wolves.
Oh, do you not like it when someone immediately kind of trashes your references to verses? And such? Oh, it sucks, doesn't it?
I have put in so many verses about dust for you, all right?
I know. All right. So,
I love you, Jeff.
Oh, buddy. Feelings mutual. Okay, so let's dive in. Okay, I'm very excited. I don't know how long tonight's gonna go. We'll see. I do have a couple small little surprises left. We'll see if we get to them. If not, we'll just play it as it is. Like I told everyone before we start, just play it as it is. We don't have to worry about forcing anything. Just play it as it is, because this is a season finale. And if some people pass, it's fine. Everyone survives. I'm fine with that too. We'll see what happens. So last session's getting to the summary. Last session began while you all were speeding away from Club Fervor. You stopped at Linda's place so that you could get Reverend's injuries looked at, because he had, if you recall, had gotten attacked in the neck by the vampire within the club. And although you weren't followed, like you didn't see that you were being followed, there was this weird moment, I think, where Alvin and Maria maybe heard some crunching and cracking of glass from the junk piles in the back of Linda's yard. Alvin, you headed home eventually, and you found that the couch was waiting for you again. In the morning, most of you, I think, met at the Desert Ridge United Methodist Church, something like that. But Linda, I think, was working on grenades at the time. But while at Desert Ridge, I think, Alvin, you started to use their networks, and you researched some stuff about Dr. Wendell Drebin. You discovered a bunch of things, actually. You found evidence, it's just like the first thread of what likely would take a long time of forensic analysis. But this network of businesses and shell corporations, all that seem to have this weird weaving together of a variety of companies that you've stumbled across, and all kind of linking back to this multinational firm, TDG, you've seen before. You also learned that Drebin was the board of a pharmaceutical conglomerate here in Phoenix called Pavexa, and that they own a new skyscraper downtown that was half commercial, half residential. And you found an article that showed Drebin on the balcony of his home. And so you actually found out where he lives, which is a penthouse in that building. Meanwhile, the Reverend's wife, Sarah, never came in for work. Shocker. And most of the cell we got kind of a little nervous at this point as you converged on the Reverend's home, and they discovered that someone had disabled the security system, left slashes of blood on his children's neighboring homes, and there are signs possibly of abduction. There's also a Bible that was left on the Reverend's dining table, open to a passage that was espousing the virtues of eye for eye justice. And while checking in with Sister LeBlanc, Rust actually learned that her church had been attacked, and that there was a Sister Selena that got brutally killed, caught in the crossfire in some way. It took some doing, but eventually the Reverend, you convinced your children to hop onto the helicopter, as you said, and I think you said you sent them out to California, if I recall, for their safety.
Yep.
And then you all decided to head to the Pavexa building downtown, and you were going right for Drebin because you believed him to be kind of behind all of this, right? You found schematics for the building. Maria, you consulted your locksmith friend, as we talked about, and learned that his company installed the electronic locks in the building, and he gave you a way to access the maintenance mode of these locks to kind of bypass them and get in. But he also kind of hinted at the fact that Evie kind of disappeared on him and hasn't been responding, which is weird because they had plans, and that's not really like your sister. Alvin, you received a frantic call from your wife, Lucia, who said that your daughter, Celie, never returned home. You promised to come help, but instead of actually going and helping, you went with the cell to the Pavexa building. Like I said, big picture, eyes on the prize. You kind of know what's up. You all managed to convince the building manager to let you use the freight elevators after hours. It's like evening time is when we're at right now. And you kind of pretended to do the furniture delivery. You got up to the top floor. It was quiet. It was empty. And that trick Maria learned on the locks worked just fine. You got into Drebin's home and discovered that it was a mess. There were dead lockroom agents on the ground, signs that something had fed on their necks. And in a refrigerator in the kitchen, Kyoto, you got this weird kind of supernatural tingling, that sense that you tap into from time to time. And you find these samples, these like some kind of sampling in these little vials and such that were giving off those particular vibes. You started searching the apartment for any signs of life. And as you were doing so, this camouflaged entrance to a panic room opened up. And there you saw Dr. Wendell Drebin in his disheveled state, kind of on edge, and he had like a shotgun at his side, and he does not look great. And we're going to pick up right there, I think. Let's go right there. So you all see, door opens. There's a little bit of light coming from behind. It's very dark in his apartment. The lights aren't really on, and it's getting dark outside. So you can see the last little rays of sunset. The door opens up, and he looks at you. Yeah. He's got this look on his face, wide eyes, like his hair is disheveled. It looks like he's been sweating for days. And he's just, it's you. You had to do it, didn't you? You had to do it, didn't you? This is your fault. And he's like looking at the four of you. He's got the shotgun, but he's not quite brandishing it. Like he's not like aiming it at you guys. He just looks like a guy who's exhausted. You don't know what you've done. You don't know what you've done.
You were warned to leave our city.
Your city. Your city. This isn't your city. This isn't my city. I told you I worked for people, and I told you they're capable of things. And you pissed them off. He's kind of just staring at you. You pissed them off. You killed off one of theirs. They don't take that lying down.
She made the mistake of attacking the Reverend. I won't tolerate that. He's a man of God.
I'm going to walk up to Drebin just nose to nose. Where is she?
On a pile of dust in a club downtown, as far as I know.
Where is my wife?
And he kind of looks at you, and he's like, a quizzical look on his face, and then a little grin. I told you. I told you. They took her. I don't know, man. She's probably dead already. He just kind of like leans against the door frame.
I want to
Maria-
try to grab the shotgun out of his hands. Like not like-
contested.
yeah. I don't want to like, obviously it is aggressive, but I'm not like trying to like threaten him with it.
Okay.
I just want to angrily like intimidate, I guess. But yeah, contested.
You're not
will
trying
that
to
be
threaten.
athletics?
You're just trying to angrily intimidate him.
Yeah,
It's fine
I know
line.
what I'm saying.
Fine line.
So dexterity athletics sounds fine. Let me go ahead and roll contested. I'll give you a difficulty in a second. Yeah, let's just make it 3.
Let me pull out how much willpower I have. I don't think I have much.
Okay.
I'm going to spend 1 to re-roll.
Also, start of the session, don't forget to do your little heals if you haven't done that already.
Okay, the re-roll saved me 3.
3. Okay, yeah, you do manage to snatch it out of his hand. It's a little bit of a go. Like he holds onto it for a second, and he's like kind of struggling with you, but eventually, like his hand slips. You can tell he's sweating like something fierce. You can tell that there hasn't really been air. Like now that you're looking around, there's not a whole lot of air in here, and it kind of slips out of his hand. And he just kind of at that point he just starts cackling, and he does the classic slide down the side of the door frame and plops down right there. Just, go ahead. It'll be
Where would they
easier
have
coming
taken
from
her?
you than what's coming from them.
So they did this to your men.
Yeah. These are the last of them. He kind of just looks around. Yeah. These were the ones, and he kind of looks, these were loyal to me, I guess. The rest of them, I don't know. And he's just cackling at the man who's like a kind of a broken man.
Maria was sort of awkward because Maria was about to like kind of armbar him against the wall when the Reverend Doctor grabbed the gun and then he slid down the wall. And so there's sort of an awkward, like she goes to lean forward and then he's like not there anymore. And so she kind of like goes down and kind of grabs him, kind of by the shirt and sort of like picks him back up again against the wall. And it's just like, cut the shit. Where did they take them? It's not just his wife.
I don't know. I don't know
Well,
what they do.
use your brain. Where do you think they might be?
There's a pay grade, and that's well above mine.
So
And
what do you
yours.
know?
I know that this isn't your city. I know that this isn't mine. And I know that we're all just dead men walking.
There's nothing wrong with dying for the right cause. So if you don't know who has them, and you're saying you're a low man on the totem pole, who is the next up on the totem pole, and where are they?
I'll tell you what. Roll persuasion. And then, manipulation probably.
All right, this is a strong suit for me. 0 pips in persuasion, 1 dot in manipulation.
Is there any benefit to?
I mean, if other people want to chime in, that's fine too. And then somebody else can roll it. I'm okay with that.
I have
enough,
5
Trev.
pips
That would be better.
between manipulation and
So
persuasion.
what do you
I
say?
have
Maria?
8 from charisma, or I'm sorry, 5 from manipulation persuasion. So yeah, go ahead, Maria.
So if whoever wants to lead it, go ahead and just say what you would say, and then
Okay.
we'll sort out the dice pool in a sec.
I would say I'm probably kind of I'm the one in his face. So like Rust is kind of saying the things that I'm just like kind of like loudly repeating them at him. Like, okay, there's steps between you and the top. So who's the next one? What's the next up? This little lost your mind thing is kind of getting a little tiresome.
All right, go ahead and say difficulty 3.
6 or higher, right?
6 or higher.
Yeah.
Double
That's,
10s is a crit.
no, 7, a 7, and a 6.
7, 7,
in addition
6
to
is
2
3.
lower ones. So
Yeah,
yeah.
it's 3 successes. You're good. That's all you need. And he just, it doesn't work like that. It's not a straight line. They've got, I don't know, they've got threads everywhere. They've got their hands in everything. Pharmaceuticals, real estate, securities. It's old money, it's new money. They're all over. They got a way of leveraging, what you care about to get you to do whatever it is they want. But if you're looking for who's next up, I mean, you killed her, right? That was you.
That was me. Yes, that was me.
They got this perverted family dynamic, child and sire. Yeah, you're gonna probably want whoever made her. They don't take these things lightly.
Well, who was the leech's sire then?
Yeah, I only seen him once or twice. And at that point, you guys are starting to see, as he's like thinking, seeing the power flicker, like it's starting to flicker on. You're seeing the lights kind of start flickering on. You're seeing suddenly the AC, the HVAC starts to kick back in. You hear the refrigerator start going as it hums back in, as if the power is kind of coming back. And he says, Chris D'Amata was the one you killed. I seen another one of them time to time at the club. Korean guy, dresses real nice, businessman. I imagine you're not really gonna have to look far. And as the lights continue to flicker on, you guys hear the TV suddenly come on, and you hear classic static, and then his eyes just kind of go to the TV. He's just like, "Yep, they got a way of finding you. You think you're free and clear. You think you got no connections. You think it's just you, and then they find
it
you.
is just me and vengeance."
This guy kind of looks over at you, Maria. He's like, "This guy for real."
He is
character.
Actually. What did they have on you? Just wondering.
He's like, kind of throws his hands up because he just doesn't care. And they got my sister. They got me out of college. I was doing, it was dumb luck, really. I just stumbled on something that they wanted, and they brought me in. I got the patents, I got the money, I got the credit, and then they started giving me some weird things. I didn't even know who was really funding the research for a while. I didn't know. I just thought it was deep pockets, It's pharmacology. And then they gave me these samples. And I had never seen anything like it. Nothing like it before. It's the regenerative power. Something strange about it,
The same samples you've got in your refrigerator.
Yeah. Some of them, yeah.
They're not natural.
Yeah. I didn't make them. I don't know.
You're not natural. What are you?
What do you mean I'm not natural? Natural. I'm just a guy. Just a guy.
Maybe you were just a guy, but if he says you're not natural, something's changed. Using your own stuff?
Well, that's the thing, right? They wanted us to figure out a way. can we make something out of it, temporary? There was wanted us to make synthetic supplements, enhance natural abilities, better regeneration, better speed, better sight. Find a way to take what those creatures had and put it in a bottle and sell it on I guess. Or maybe it was just for themselves. I don't really know. And then there's the sunlight issue, too. They wanted a way around that. That's how I started. Can you believe it? I worked for a dermatology company. That's how I got into this. Now you hear like the from the TV in the room, like this, the bedroom that you're in, because the panic room's connected to the bedroom. It starts to flicker in, and you're starting to see like a signal is sort of like trying to punch through. Yeah. Anyway, but yeah, they got her. They got my sister. She doesn't know. As far as she knows, she's living a blessed life, painting away, and I don't know where she's at now. Paris, maybe. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, they're going to find. Don't worry. I'm sure they'll find you. And it's that point you see like that classic, like different colored lines pop up on the TV at this point. Like the black, the red, the magenta, the green. You can see like a signal is kind of coming through. Kind of flickers in for a second. And then you see what looks like basically like a grainy looking video, and then it kind of clears up a bit, and then eventually you see a man on the screen, and Drebin looks over and he's like, "We'll speak of the devil." He kind of looks up at you, Reverend. There you go right there. And this guy is like a Korean man. He's got like his hair sort of slicked back, very pale. You can see he's got kind of dark black hair, a little streak. You think of, the like white kind of going through it. He's got this fancy looking kind of blue-gray suit, blue-gray shirt, thin red tie. And he's just typing. And he says, so you kind of hear it coming through the surround sound. "Good, you're all there. One moment." And you hear like the sound of like a keyboard click, 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 click. And you start seeing these little other screens start to pop up, like a zoom window, basically boom, 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 popping up on the bottom. You see like same kind of things happening, and they're all kind of filtering in. And one at a time, the screens kind of start to get a little bit clear. And Reverend, you see in one of them, Sarah. She is sitting on pretty much a disgustingly upholstered, flowery couch. She seems okay. She's got a looks like a book in her lap, and she's just kind of flipping through it and reading. Maria, you see a conference room. I mean, all of you see this, of course, but this is what you would probably focus in on. Maria, you see a conference room. It's not a very fancy looking one, actually. It looks kind of a sort of a humdrum, pretty boring looking. And Evie is there kind of working with a couple folks. Like they're at like this big table. There's papers all over the place. A couple laptops are up. She's at work. Alvin, you see Seely in a playroom. Toys everywhere on the ground, and there is an unknown woman. You can't see her face. The woman's back is to the camera, but you do see Seely's face. Is sitting there like on the ground playing with her. There is a feed. Did you notice that Linda is kind of zooming in on a bit, where it looks like there's a kind of a man in probably his mid-50s or so at work. And then you also see another camera comes up on the screen, and there is a woman. You would probably peg her in her 30s or so, and like she's got this easel set up. There's canvas all over, and then like as that screen comes on, you hear Rebecca. And he kind of like starts crawling across on the ground, and he kind of looks up at the screen. You guys doing anything?
I would like to grab Drebin before he crawls too far away.
Okay, yeah, he gets a couple steps, and then you just kind of grab him.
I still want to keep him down, but I'll grab him by the collar and just kind of pull him back firmly.
Rebecca. And you could tell, by the way, like as you reach and kind of grab him, like there's a bit of a wince, and you can see like on his shoulder, now that you've grabbed him, there's blood kind of on his back. He suffered some kind of wound, it looks like.
Is there a point to all of this?
So the voice pops up, or see, I said the face pops up. You hear the typing, and then like the face comes back up, and you can see the man is kind of just looking forward right into the camera, and he just says, "Deliver before midnight the murderer of my child, along with the failure who fled the scene and left her to die. A vehicle is waiting for you downstairs. That is all."
You let all of them go, and I'll bring this coward with me, and you and I can have a talk. I'm the one that killed your child.
You guys watch on the screen as he kind of grins a little bit, and you can see like the tiny bit, the edge of the fangs, no uncertainty. And you can hear the clacking of a keyboard. And then seconds later, you watch as a shadow appears in the image or in the video feed of the woman who's painting. And you watch as like the shadow just moves like inhuman speed, grabs the painter and throws her out the window. And then he looks back directly at the camera and he says, almost repeating it verbatim, "Deliver before midnight the murderer of my child, along with the failure who fled the scene and left her to die. A vehicle is waiting for you downstairs."
And what time is it?
I'll be there.
So I would put it at like between 7 and 8, probably. You guys got here around sunset. So sunset this time of year for Arizona, it's pretty late. So it's probably closing in on 7:30, 8 o'clock. Got a couple hours.
We'll see you soon then.
Maria wants to look around for like a camera or something in that room.
Sure. Do you want to just like look like with your eyes, or are you actively searching?
I'm just looking around quickly just to, because I want to chuck something at it.
Awareness, wits. Difficulty is actually going to be kind of high with this one. Hard. This is going to be a hard one, just because if you're not actively moving around, you're just peeking. 5.
It's a 7, an 8, and a 10.
Okay, that's 3 successes.
That's just 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have any? Other die?
I don't think I want to spend a willpower for this.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. Anyone else doing anything?
Quixote would be taking a picture of this guy, but he broke his last phone, so
darn it. It comes back to bite you.
So he's not talking, like, is a direct line of communication through this TV?
He's looking as if he's on a Zoom call, right? Like you're basically looking at the top part is like a big screen with his face. He's staring directly into the camera, except when he kind of turns his head off to the side and starts typing. And then the bottom of the screen has these smaller windows that has each of the individual situations. There's nothing specifically for Rust, but you do notice the rest. And as like Rebecca gets thrown out the window, Reverend, you feel like he flattens to the ground. Like Drebin just flattens to the ground.
Russ looks down at Drebin. He's like, "That's what you get when you get into bed with monsters."
Maria just looks
up. He looks up at you, and he's like, "Is that what's going to happen to them? Then you don't even know what you are."
I'm a weapon in the war against your kind.
You're a monster. It's not my kind. I'm as human as it comes. That's not to say the same thing about you now, is it? I know what you are. I know what you come from. You think they don't have files on you?
Where he's injured. and just kind of press in as he's talking. How long will you speak these things, and how long shall the words of your mouth be like a strong wind? Job 8, verse 2.
Strong grip, Father. You're a little quiet now, Steven, by the way.
Oh,
Got a little
sorry.
quiet on me. All right. What are you guys doing? Dragon's
Russ
rolling on the
turns,
ground?
goes over to that refrigerator. He's going to take the samples out, and with him, he's like, well, it looks like we've got a ride waiting for us.
I'm interested in if he knows what ripped through here. Like squatting by his locker agents.
Yeah. So Drebin kind of looks up, kind of rolling over. He's like pain, like there's smears of blood now, or like his wound on the back, which you can tell is some kind of claw, or like he's slash, like you're not exactly sure what it is. And yeah, he just says, ghouls. That's what they call them. Ghouls. They, it's kind of my fault. It made them a little stronger than they probably would have been otherwise. Yeah.
But where are they now?
I don't know. They probably left. Maybe they're down the hall. Maybe they're knocking on the door. Maybe they're waiting wherever it is they're going to take us. What does it matter?
And so
kinda like-
Maria's going to kind of go up to him and just be like, they just killed your sister. And what are you going to do about it?
What am I going to do about it?
I mean, we're going to try to do things. So what are you going to try to do?
What am I going to do about it? You don't understand the reach these people have. You don't understand.
And if I did understand, what would that change? What would I do if I did understand?
You would get in line.
Sit on the floor?
You would get in line is what you would do.
Get in line and do what? Sell out like you did?
Sell out? Sell out? I haven't seen my sister in person in 20 years. 20 years. I get little videos like this from time to time. I get little updates. She thinks I'm dead.
Well, unfortunately for you, you'll never see her again. It looked like she lived a virtuous life, and we all know you're going to hell.
You're coming with me, freak. I know what you are.
There's always
And he had his
casualties in
shoulder
war.
again.
He looks at the rest of you. You're gonna roll around with this thing? It ain't human blood that flows through his veins. You seen what he can do? You think he's human? You think he's human? Hypocrites. You're all hypocrites. You just got
Get down in that car.
Okay.
And I'll give all the samples to Linda and be like, Linda, we'll get your friend out if we can, but you've got to get these samples to Sister LeBlanc. She needs to know what's going on. You need to describe this Korean vampire to her. If we don't make it, there's got to be a last line of defense.
You see her, she just kind of like nods. Like she's like hands kind of shaking a bit. She looks back over to the screen, and the guy hasn't like ended the call. He's just sort of still sitting there staring impassively straight ahead at the screen. And you see all the other images, and she takes them, she nods, and yeah, and she'll get going, and she'll do it. Sister LeBlanc.
Tell the sister I'm sorry.
And like she gets to the door, and then she stops, and she turns around, and she says, "His name is Ed. We're kind of I don't know. He doesn't care that I look like this." And she kind of like shrugs her shoulders, and she goes out the door.
So seeing that the guy is just still there watching, Maria wants to kind of relocate us. Like, does it look like there's somewhere in the apartment that we would be able to like have a conversation that's not?
Yeah, you go into the other room. So this is the bedroom you guys have been in. And so you step out into the like kind of like the living area, and you hear the flickering of a television as that starts to come on. And you can see the same screen kind of comes up there, but there's other rooms without televisions and things like that. Plus you could just leave and go in the hallway.
I'd like to go to the fuse box. I'll ask Drebin where it is. And I just want to turn off all the fuses to the apartment.
He just he holds up his good arm, the one that you're not wounding, and he points to a closet. So you go in a closet.
I'm taking him with me too the whole time.
Okay.
Just pulling him by the collar.
Okay. You pull him in into the closet. The two of you are in there. And as you guys get inside, and it's just the two of you, and he says, you know, Reverend, that guy you got with you, he ain't what you think he is. You know what he's got in him? You know what he's got in him, right? Do you want me to show you what he did to one of my guys?
Did you think I would have a conversation with you? We're not here to chit chat.
Okay. So he points to the fuse box.
Turn off every fuse.
Okay. You turn around and he will try to stab you in the back with a knife that he has in his pocket. So go ahead. And I'm going to say you can do this with, obviously with like, it's going to be contested, but like, it's going to be higher difficulty for you. All right. So roll strength brawl. And then you can roll that with a difficulty because you turned your back, you're flipping all the switches, you've been a dick to him. Roll this with a difficulty of 5.
Cool. All right, I got 5 pips, so what can go wrong? That is a crit, but only those 2 successes. What does that mean?
That means you failed.
Does that mean I got a 4?
Yeah, you failed though.
You could spend willpower to re-roll 3 dice.
That is true.
I could, but I'm running low on willpower.
Oh, that's a shame. You're not going to need that where you guys are going.
Did you clear your superficial willpower at the beginning of the session equal to your composure?
Yeah, but I had some aggravated will that kind of limits me. So I've only got 2 points left because I already pushed earlier.
Oh, yeah. Might want to keep that for the big fight.
You're going to take the hit?
This is him being stabbed, so there is that.
You sure?
Okay, you guys are making me overthink it. Like, how bad can it be being stabbed, right?
It's aggravated damage.
It's aggravated damage for the knife. Yeah, it could be really bad.
All right.
Oops,
I'll do the willpower. Roll the 3 dice. I only need 1 more success then?
Yeah.
2 more.
Okay, so you feel like you hear him kind of like grumble under his breath, and you turn around just in time as you see him trying to just, with this sort of an awkward lunge, as he's trying to take what just looks like a basic steak knife that he might, like from the kitchen, and he's just trying to thrust it into your back, and you manage to just kind of sidestep at the last second. You grab his wrist as it reaches forward, and the knife just kind of digs deep into the junction box.
Is it electrocuted?
I don't know. Let's find out. Yeah, it gives him a little bit of a shock. It's not going to like kill him or anything, but you see a shot go through him for sure. But what do you do?
I want to hit him with the butt of the shotgun.
Yeah, go right ahead. Actually, it's a new round. It's technically a new round, so it's going to be contested again, but it won't be difficulty of 5 this time. It'll be a difficulty of 3.
Melee strength.
Yeah. Melee brawl. Well, actually, no, wait. Yeah, it's melee because it's the shotgun.
Because I'm using a weapon, right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's another crit with 2 more successes. 2 crits in a row.
Okay, so what's the total successes or what? No.
6.
Crit becomes 4 plus 2 more 6.
Okay, so that'll be, and you're using the butt, so we'll call that something like a, I don't know, like a baseball bat or a baton or something like that. It'll be, we'll give it like maybe a +1 or something. I don't know. So,
If I can, I don't know how like non-lethal works. I don't want to kill him. I just want to.
yeah,
put him
we
back
could say
down
it's,
on the
no. I mean,
ground.
if you're not intending to kill him, we can call it superficial damage. It's fine.
Cool.
Okay, so it's difference +1. We'll say what was the difference? I'm sorry. What was your total successes again?
6.
6.
-3, so it's 3 + 1, so 4 points of superficial damage. Okay, you just kind of smash him right in the temple with with the butt of your shotgun. You see his eye just kind of almost collapse in a little bit. Blood kind of splurts out, and he goes down to the ground. He's completely knocked out. He's not dead, but you just he's impaired. He filled up his bar.
You cannot drink the cup of the Lord and the cup of demons too. You cannot have a part in both the Lord's table and the table of demons. 1 Corinthians 10, verse 21. You will not tempt me. You will not strike me.
You okay back there, Rev?
Just fine.
You hear as he's on the ground, like rolling. You're the one consorting with demons, Father. And then he kind of like kinks off and gets knocked out.
Rag him out of the closet now that the power's off.
Yeah, you flip the power off, and then all the interfaces go out. You don't see the TV screens anymore. The image isn't there. All the lights go back out. It gets very dark instantly. All the humming of the HVAC and the refrigerator, all that kind of stuff. All the power goes up.
I thought we were going to have a conversation about what we were doing with him. I guess you took the initiative yourself there.
It was his choice.
We've got to take him with us anyway. That the vampire wants him. If we're going to have any hope of getting your people back before we go toe to toe with that guy, we need to play ball a little bit.
So we're getting in their car and going wherever they take us. That's the plan.
Rust and I are.
Well, I'm not
They
gonna.
want the two of us. He said the one who killed her, the one who attempted to kill her and fled the scene. I attempted to kill her.
I meant Dribbin.
He meant Drebin. Yeah.
He meant Trevin. He was the guy who ran.
He didn't care about you, Reverend. You
What the hell? I stabbed her with a sword.
you did like jack to her.
I want to turn the power back on and have a talk with this guy.
Now listen, I'm a threat too. Come on.
And what are Alvin and I supposed to do? Just sit around here and play Scrabble?
No, you need to follow us discreetly. Use the drone to keep your eyes on it. Stay back far enough that you don't get picked up tailing us. But make sure you get to where we're going too, because you're going to have to find your loved ones. We need to hit him hard and fast. I don't think he's going to go down as easy as his child did.
He works remotely. The odds of you seeing him face to face are very slim.
Well, I don't know what our options are otherwise. I mean,
I doubt he's even in the state.
We're all going to be casualties in this war eventually, whether you're innocent or not. But I'm assuming you don't want to let your loved ones fall in this war just yet.
Of course not. Can't give them away you either. One of our greatest warriors. But we'll fall behind tightly.
Which car did we take over here? Was it?
It's a good
Took
question.
a van.
Was it-
Because we pretended to be workers. We
Mhm.
rented a van.
That's right.
And-
yeah.
I did also last session say that I was calling my personal driver,
Mhm.
whose
Okay.
name is Benjamin Grafton, and he drives the Benz. It's a pun because they're both Benz. Yeah. And that's an Escort armored Mercedes Benz, of course.
Okay. I was going to say, because I know my van has all the windows knocked out and it's in Linda's house.
So-
So,
Oops.
all right.
He's
Still
ready to go to
functional.
drive us
You can
somewhere.
still use it. It's totally fine. Okay. So do you guys go downstairs?
I'll drag
we
the
should let-
Reverend by his foot. I
Okay.
mean, not the Reverend, the
I
Drebin
got
by
you.
his
Drebin.
foot.
Yeah.
You can drag the Reverend by his foot.
I
I think it
I'm
would
a
be great if you
threat.
took out wood, though. Okay. So you get back in the elevator, freight elevator, go back down. I'll assume that you probably weekend a Bernium out, or you use some of your equipment that you had, something like that. Obviously, you're not going to drag them through the middle of the lobby like that. But when you get outside, though, I'll say Quixote and Alvin, you immediately notice something very familiar as you're looking, as you see Maria and Reverend. They're kind of looking around for vehicles. Reverend, you notice, obviously, Benjamin Grafton, your driver, in the Benz, there, ready to go, dutiful as always, kind of pulled up right next to where the rental van was that you all used, as you probably directed him to. But Alvin and Quixote, you notice right outside the entrance to this east tower, you see a very large van, or excuse me, a very large bus, kind of private bus.
Oh.
Double layered, double tiered. It says at the very top, Sunset Trails.
Going back to that facility.
Well, be very careful. Those old folks there, they're not human. So don't hesitate. If you need to put them down hard.
I go up to Rust and I put an arm on his shoulder. Resist the devil, and he will flee from you. James 4, verse 7.
Thank you, Reverend. You've been good to me. I'm sorry about Sarah.
It's not your fault. We have your back.
So Quixote will frog march Drebin over to the bus.
Okay. So the bus opens up. You see there's a driver on the inside. Probably the most muscular looking bus driver you've ever seen in your life. You can tell basically by looking at him that he is not just any old bus driver. He kind of stares at you. He's got kind of very hard chin scars on his face, and he just kind of motions back. So you start climbing on, and you notice that the bus is not empty. Looking around, there's somewhere in the neighborhood of 20 to 30 people on here. They all kind of look a little disheveled. There's some of them are just kind of leaning up against the windows. Some of them certainly look like they've seen better days. There's a few seats open here and there. But yeah, you and Drebin, you get on. Anyone else getting on the bus? Or is it just the two of you?
Just the two of them. I believe we were following behind.
Yeah, we're following with the drone and the
Shotgun.
van.
As I hold
Okay.
up a shotgun.
Quixote turns to the driver. He's like, they're getting off here.
Who's that?
Everybody else on this bus but you, me, and Drebin. You
No.
ain't feeding these people to your little sick experiment.
That's not how this works, man.
Don't care how it works. We can throw down here, you and me right now, or you can let them off the van and deal with it later.
It's not happening, man. You can get off. And he points up, and you look at, there's a security camera right above the entranceway. You can see the camera coming down and showing the bus. You do what you want. You throw whatever they got on you.
They don't
So
have
do I.
anything on me. I don't
I guess
have
you're in
anything.
the clear. I guess there ain't anything wrong at all. Go ahead. You want to take me out? You want to take them out? Sure, there won't be any consequences.
We'll take a ride, but you're going to be the first to go when we stop.
You're under a strange presumption that you're in charge here.
Nah, I'm not in charge. I'm already dead. I'm just going to take you with me.
And he just laughs and laughs and laughs.
I push against him just a little bit.
Okay. Let's see what he does. Okay. He'll let it go, and he'll just say, behind the line. And he just kind of shoves you a little bit so your foot steps back over like the white line by where the driver's seat is.
Took a step back, but I put one hand on his shoulder. Like, you make sure you drive real careful.
He kind of lets out a, "You had to touch me, didn't you?"
Yeah, I did.
"Hey, Jimmy." And you see in the back of the bus, 4 dudes, locker matrons, get up, each one of them. They have gear on, full gear. "We got a disruption up here." And you see like these 4 guys start coming down. They get kind of right up in your face and they're like, "You know, we don't got to deliver you alive. We just got to deliver you. You want to go there alive? Sit your ass down and take your hand off his shoulder."
I think you prefer to keep me alive. God only knows what'll crawl out of me when I die. But I'll play your game for now.
One of them pulls out a gun and shoots you in the leg.
Okay.
So you can roll dodge. So you
I
can
will-
roll. So
I
you're
will
right
attempt
next
to
to
dodge
him,
it.
or you can attempt to dodge it or whatever.
Just
or like
take
grab
it,
the
man.
gun or something.
Like that the Reverend
Yeah.
Doctor's like, "I'm gonna let him hang himself. Hey, you know, it's all at him. I'm
Yeah,
not
can I
getting
just try
involved
to
in
can I
this."
try to knock it offline? Brawl the
Yeah,
guy?
go ahead and roll brawl. Let me give you
I
the
assumed
difficulty.
I'm not actually here on the bus anymore, right? Like I talked to him outside the bus, right?
I mean, I asked if anyone else got on, and no one said anything.
Right.
So,
Oh, I thought you were going with him on the bus.
No, we said they wanted Drebin, not me. So I'm going to go with you guys.
Of course, you'll hear the gunshot in a second.
yeah, you are going to hear a gunshot. 6 successes actually. I got a 10 on my random roll.
Crap. Okay, well, I've got 6 die. Is he supernatural? Or
He's
just
not.
inhuman? Okay. 6, 7, 10, 10, 7. That's 4, 5, 6, 7 successes.
Okay, so he pulls the gun out. You grab it, twist. You hear as he's going to take 1 point of damage from it. But then the rest of them are going to start doing the same thing. So there's 3 more, and you did your defense one. So each time you do a defense after this, reduce a die. They're not all going to try to shoot. Some of them are just going to hit you with a baton. So I think that's probably what it'll do. They're all just going to start like they got like these like these sticks, and they're just going to start hitting you with them. So first one after that is going to be difficulty 6. Man, that's 2 10s in a row.
This is not going to go well here.
So -1 on your roll for this guy.
Yep. 5 dice. Oh, no. I got one success. One success.
Okay, so 1 success versus 6. So it's 5 difference plus 2. This is 7 points of superficial damage.
Whenever it's our turn, once we hear the gunfire, I would like to start running for the door of the bus.
Okay. Okay. And so they're going to keep hitting. The other 2 are going to keep hitting Rust. Next one is only going to be a 4.
All right, I'll try with 4 dice this time.
The last one's only going to be a 4 too.
Okay, I got this one.
Okay.
I got this, but let me see about the last one. The last one, I got 3 successes. I'll spend a willpower to re-roll the 1 die. No, I got 3 successes.
3 successes on the last one. So you're good on this. You're good on the second to last. Okay. So 1 extra point. 3 extra points of superficial damage. Because the weapon's got a +2 value on it. Okay. So the rest of you hear the sound of a gunshot go off on the bus. What do you want to do?
Can I attack?
This was all part of. I think this was sort of like your action, right? Isn't that how this works? I see. This happens when we play a lot of games.
I touched the guy's shoulder, and then they all attacked me.
Okay.
Is the dodging part of your action?
Well, I think it's they came down at that point, and then you kind of talked more to them, like you kind of threatened them again.
Mm-hmm.
And then he pulled the gun out to attack you. So
okay.
Yeah, I think
Action economy on this game is still a little fuzzy for me. So thanks.
It's a little dodgy. So Alvin, Maria, and Reverend, you hear the gunshot go off from. You're outside. We'll say you're nearby. You're by your other cars, or maybe you're just outside the bus, whatever it might be. You hear a gunshot go off.
I still got Revan's shotgun. I'm running for the bus.
Okay.
Yeah, let's see what happened.
So Revan, you start running on. There is a driver right there. He's turned around. He's kind of right in your way. He sees you running on, and he's like, "Hey, it's handled. You don't want this to get any worse."
We're trying to get it handled with not killing him. Just give a second.
How are you looking, Rust? Are you still up?
Oh no, he's like, I'm one slash away from dead.
So as you guys get on, you see him, and he is just getting beaten by batons. And they say, and the driver says to you, and Reverend, you can do whatever you want, but he says, it's handled. You had a bit of an attitude problem. We are fixing that problem.
It's plenty fixed.
He looks back. Jimmy, I think he learned his lesson. He looks to you. Reverend, you got your shotgun. He looks down. Nice piece, Rev.
Rust. Are you okay, son?
Russ staggers up. Looks wild-eyed. Fist glows, and he tries to punch through the skull of the driver.
Okay.
Because that's what he would do.
Yeah.
God.
This is how we all die.
I even
Rust.
gave you guys a bus to go to the bad guy. Yeah, go ahead and give it a try. As you move towards the driver to give a swing. The difficulty of this, only 4.
Despair is set at 2. Is that right?
No, I'm going to put despair is going to be higher than that. I'll put despair at 4 at this point, to be honest. I think it's.
And he is a ghoul, right?
Ways. No, none of them are.
Oh, the driver's not either? He's just human?
No, these are all
Okay.
just locker agents. Yeah, if you actually reach out to sense, by the way, you don't sense anything.
Okay.
Like even from Drebin, nothing.
Well, that's why when I pushed, I thought he was a ghoul. But yeah, 5 successes.
Oh, I thought you meant push physically.
No, push against him. Yeah.
Gotcha.
With the power.
Okay. 2 points of damage. So you will punch him in the face. It won't go through his skull, but you will punch him in the face, and he will take a punch to the face for 2 points of damage.
Now we're even.
His head goes down.
Until you die.
He looks up.
Oh.
Blood kind of coming down. He's like, all right, kid. Whatever you say. Go take your fucking seat.
No problem. At least I fight my own battles instead of having to pull a pack of people from the back of a bus like a fucking coward.
Rust, shut the hell up. You're
He's
almost
aggravated.
dead. Sit
true.
your ass down.
All right, Maria. You're right.
Dead soldiers don't fight wars.
You're right, Maria. I'm sorry.
So the driver at this point turns with gritted teeth towards the rest of you who are still standing, kind of like crowded in the front of the bus, getting onto the stairs, kind of looks at both Wood, the Reverend and Maria, Alvin, if you're down, on waiting to get on as well. He kind of looks and he's just like, are you on or you're off?
I'm just gonna hop on at this point.
Okay.
Maria will
Alvin.
too. Rust
Okay.
is just gonna get himself creamed.
That was pretty hard hit, yeah.
Yeah.
He's not a real bright guy.
Shit. Can one person not be?
Maria's
What
just
can I
gonna
do
look back
off
at
the bus?
the Rev. Coming? Cat's out of the bag.
You may be right. He may be crazy. But it may just be a lunatic we're looking for. Billy Joel. And I get on the bus.
And they all shoot the Rev. They just unload.
So do
and
I.
everyone's okay with it. Exactly. We're all on the same page. And there is now peace and unity between the world of darkness and the world of humanity. Okay. You all get on. And the guards and stuff, like these other guys with their guns, start moving back. They kind of sit far back. They can kind of see. You find seats elsewhere. And you hear the doors close. And we start driving off. Okay. So anything you guys are doing while on the bus now?
I've got absolutely nothing in medicine, but is there anything that I can do? Like, is anything superficial with Rust's?
I've got one block of superficial. The rest is aggravated.
Good gracious.
Yeah, he's gonna die.
Now he is. And so do you want to try to heal him?
Yeah, I'm trying to look back at the rules again. It might just be
Yeah, if it's superficial damage,
that's just stamina beginning of session stuff.
Yeah, if you're looking to heal, you can. I'm trying to look.
It's intelligence medicine.
Yeah, intelligence medicine, and I think what is the difficulty
equal to the damage sustained? How much, Rust?
I've got 5 aggravated.
Okay.
It's a int medicine. I've got 3 and nothing. So I guess the question would be is if it would be allowable to use a couple of extra dice from the audience to try to, it'd be a 1-for-1. I'd have to hit all successes.
That's what they're there for. Yeah, go ahead.
All right. Thank you, audience. It'll drop us from 6 to 4. I will see. I've got to hit every single one of these to succeed. Unless somebody else has medicine and int better than Maria.
What is yours?
3.
I have 4.
I've got nothing.
Alvin can roll if you want.
All right.
I can just help you with it.
Yeah,
So you just take.
Okay. Just help. All right. All right.
Okay. I think it's fitting I'm playing the sanitarium track right now.
All right. There's a 6, a 6, an 8, and a 9. And I've got. All right. I'm going to spend a willpower to reroll. You can reroll up to 3, right?
That's correct.
Okay. So I'm keeping the 6, the 7, and the 9. Sorry, the 6, the 8, and the 9. I only got 4 successes.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, you take a look at his wounds, and obviously you can clean up some of the blood here and there where they kind of beat him a little, particularly terribly with these batons. But you can tell that some of the, there's probably some fractures, maybe some fractured ribs or something like that you can't really do anything about now. He's going to need rest and probably proper attention, maybe a hospital or something. Maybe you can ask them, see if they want to stop along the way.
And Maria's just like, while she's trying to clean him up, she's going to be like, sometimes I forget you're still a teenager. You just can't see a fight that you just don't.
I'm sorry, Maria. They're going to feed all these homeless people to those things. I just couldn't see that happen. They're just like the people on the street that I live with every day. I saw it happen, and I just couldn't let it happen again. And
I hear you.
temper.
I hear you.
I'm
Big
sorry.
picture. Big
I know,
picture.
You're right, Maria. I'm sorry. Thanks for trying.
Yeah.
He coughs
Got
up a little
yourself-
bit of blood.
You got yourself screwed up pretty good there.
That's all right. I didn't really think I was going to make it through tonight anyway.
Well, I mean,
But the Reverend said it's okay if we die fighting the good fight.
You stood up for what's right. You have nothing to apologize for.
and Maria is just going to shoot the Reverend Doctor a look and just be like, don't encourage him.
Look. So Reverend, we'll say maybe you're on the opposite side of the aisle where Maria is with Quixote. Maybe the two of them are sitting, because Maria was the one who ended up rolling the heal, I think. So we'll say she's sitting with Russ. We'll say you and Alvin are sitting on the opposite side of the aisle. As you look over and you say that to Russ, as you respond to him, as you kind of encourage him, you notice in the window behind his head, where he is leaning against the window as Maria is kind of trying to fix his arm, which has this kind of big old gash on it now. You see this radiating crack in the glass is beginning to form.
I pretend I don't see anything.
Okay.
Look down at my phone. I want to text Benjamin to follow the bus from a distance.
Okay. You text him. You get a message
Nothing
back.
to see here, guys.
You get a message back. On it, boss. No problem. Does everything you want him to. Alvin, if you would like to see it, you're also across the aisle. You two can see it, but if you're not looking at them while they're patching it up, you don't have to. So
see what exactly?
so
Well,
you
and Alvin
see-
was actually helping with the healing. So
Okay. So when
Yeah.
you look up, at a certain point, you guys will all notice that behind on the window right next to where Rust is sitting, there are cracks in the glass that have begun to form. And much like when you guys were at the Reverend's house and Quixote was getting healed up, it's kind of forming, like centering around his head. Like his head is kind of leaning against it as Maria is healing, and you can just see these cracks, like these long, jagged cracks kind of coming out as if they're radiating out from behind his head. And you can hear it too. There's no sound other than a couple murmurs from people. You can tell, by the way, like these people look a little worse for wear. Like not like, it doesn't look like they've been physically beaten, but they kind of got this 100-yard stare to them. And they don't seem to react much. Like even when the fight broke down, a few of them that were closest, like they kind of put their heads down and that's about it. But none of them sort of screamed or ran. They all just seem a little bit kind of muted. But the rest of you, you can see this crack kind of starting to form. Several of them actually spiraling out. 8 of them, in fact.
Russ, is this what you're doing?
You can hear the song too. It gets louder sometimes. It's so loud now.
I don't know. The breaking of the glass.
Oh. No, it's not my doing.
You guys watch as Rust is explaining this. One of the cracks kind of extends pretty far to the point where it kind of like hops over this sort of strut that's in between each of the seats, and then it begins to form on the next one. So you see a second one of these like things radiating out and starting to kind of travel and shift. And much like Russ, when you were in the van with Linda, they're starting to just like shift and move. And the rest of you now see it as well. Since you guys have never actually seen this happen, the 3 of you, go ahead, as this is a little nerve-wracking, and you are who you guys are. Go ahead and just roll like a composure, just like a double composure test, probably. Just composure.
Any bonuses because I pretended like it doesn't exist?
You know what? You actually
Is there any
did see it.
sand I
Never
can stick
mind.
my head in?
Yeah.
You did, but no, you actually saw it in the paint in the wall. So you've actually seen
Yeah.
it.
Oh yeah, I did the cracking.
Yeah, so it's just Maria and Alvin.
The itsy bitsy spider.
4 success.
this is the best roll I could have possibly rolled because I have a 4 in composure. So I rolled 8 die and I got 2 successes.
Do you want to burn anything? Difficulty,
yeah.
by the way, difficulty is 4. So the difficulty is 4. So Alvin, you're good. Maria, you would be taking 2 superficial willpower from seeing this, as this is we're going to call this extremely unsettling.
Yeah.
But if you burn, so if you wanted to burn one willpower to maybe save another willpower, you can go right ahead. It's a risk reward thing. It's up to you.
Yeah, 4 successes. I got 2 6s on my reroll.
Okay, so you only burn the one superficial. So
Okay.
ended up working out. But it is really unsettling. But you are seeing this like this strange radiation of like this kind of cracks of this
And it looks like it's
glass.
coming from behind his head specifically.
It's like where it started. And now
Can I
it's beginning.
pull him away from the glass and see if that does anything?
Okay, roll, because you're doing this intentionally, roll an awareness wits as you do that.
Wits is 2, awareness is 2. 1 success.
Okay. You pull his head away. And there's no impact. It doesn't look like he slammed his head against it. It just looks like there's cracks that are there's a nexus of where they started, but it's not like someone smashed his head against it kind of nexus. It's just this is just where the cracks started.
Is the cracking continuing after he is moved away?
Yeah, you actually see that it's spreading further and further along the side of the bus, traveling from section to section, moving to one to the next.
It's anything
Seeing
like your
that-
van, Maria. The windows on this bus are about to pop.
Maybe we should pop it first.
The weaker I am, the stronger she is. And I'm
Maria
not feeling
will
too good.
See if she's got something to like smash the window with.
They didn't take your weapons, actually. So they didn't take your weapons.
Okay.
So if you have any weapons, you could do that.
I have a gun, so I'm going to take the back side of the gun and I'm going to smash it into the window.
Okay. You take the gun, you smash it. Let's see. As you smash, it's a pretty sturdy window, actually. And it doesn't seem to actually do anything immediately. Like if you like went all out and you were just smashing and smashing, you would certainly do it. But just like a quick whooshing like that doesn't seem to actually do anything.
Of course, these are sturdy windows.
I'd like to gently reach out for Maria. Remember, bigger picture. Let's focus on one demon before the next.
I mean, I'm just saying I don't want it to go all the way up there and then like the bus crashes. That was kind of what I was thinking of. But you're right. Big picture.
Alvin, what are you doing?
I'm gonna brace myself in case the windows just like start bursting.
Okay.
Glass goes flying everywhere.
So you guys are traveling on the road. You're on the highway at this point. You look out, you can see yourselves. You're heading west on the I-10, and about 5 minutes go past, then 10 minutes go past, and then all of a sudden you hear this really loud and sudden shattering of glass, almost like an explosion. And then you hear, "What the fuck?" And then guns go off. And you hear a cacophony, like fighting is happening in the back of the bus right now. Guns are going off. People are shouting. You hear, "Ah, what the fuck is this?"
I just whisper to the driver, I warned you, but you decided to play with my puppet.
What the fuck? Jimmy, what the fuck's going on back there? And Jimmy, when he responds, he's "Rah!" as he calls in pain. What are you guys all
Like
doing?
to sit up and look back and see what exactly is going on back there.
So when you look back, you see that there is a lockroom agent down in the middle of the aisle on the ground. He's kind of crawling towards you. You can see that there's another one who is like leaning up against the far back of the bus, and he's firing like literally right down into the seat. When you look at where he's firing, you can't see anything initially, but then you suddenly see this reflective, like, I don't know, twig arm, something just reach up and just fly out in his direction and just impales him right in the chest. And then pulling it as if it's like kind of pulling, using his body to kind of repel itself. This glassy creature just lunges and just pins him against the wall and you just see spurts of blood kind of going all sorts of different directions. And you just hear, Jimmy, talk to me, Jimmy.
And
What are you guys doing?
Maria will just sort of look at Alvin and just gonna be like, taking out the bad guys?
I don't know where it is, but I think we need to get off the bus. I'll shout at the bus drivers. Stop the bus. There's a creature here.
The itsy bitsy spider.
Will you shut up? Just.
Can't you hear the song? It's so loud now.
No, we don't. We don't hear the song. Do you control that thing? Is this what is going on?
Nobody can control her.
Well, that's the problem. If you could control it, I would feel like a little bit better. But she is just doing. Is she going to hurt us?
There's blood curdling screams, and there's
time to
tons of
run.
gunfire going on right now. And there's the bus driver who's screaming, Jimmy, what's happening? Alvin, you're trying to convince him to get off the bus. This is all a tense moment. I don't want to pretend that this is like for soft conversation. Alvin, roll persuasion or intimidation, whatever you want. However you're trying to convince this guy to pull the bus over, do it now. Difficulty of 4.
Just like Melissa to chide someone as they're saving us.
I have none of those.
Oh, I don't think he.
I'm just going to tell him, if you don't stop this bus, we're all going to be dead.
Okay. He is going to continue to drive then, as he is a leveraged man. Reverend Maria Quixote, what are you guys
Stop
doing?
the damn bus.
Okay, what are you rolling?
Leadership? Like, because I'm commanding him? I'm taking control of the situation. That's
Okay.
leadership, right?
Sure.
People look to you in tense situations. That's part of the description.
I'll give it's the last session. Go ahead. Leadership.
Charisma?
Composure?
Not charisma? Okay.
I think composure probably makes more sense.
All right. You gave me leadership,
Tense
so I won't argue
situation.
too much.
Yeah, it's a tense situation. You're demonstrating a cool head, and he's screaming back for Jimmy. Meanwhile, blood is splurting everywhere. There's about 20 or 30 homeless folk on this bus as well. You guys are towards the front of the bus. The craziness is happening towards the back of the bus. So how'd you do on that?
That was one success.
Okay, that is not good enough.
He's still driving?
He's still driving. Yeah.
Okay. Maria is going to try to unseat him.
Oh, okay. You're going to try to throw him out? Okay, sure. Let's make this a contested, probably a brawl, unless you had something else in mind. He'll be penalized because he's driving, so he's not going to get his full thing. So the difficulty for kind of pushing him out isn't going to be the same as trying to hit him. It'll be a little bit easier.
Well,
It'll be 3.
Well, that's the total of dice that I'm rolling because
Big dudes, man.
Oh no, it's fine. Like
paramilitary guys.
It's one of those things where the people that are good at fighting were talking, and so the person that's good at talking is now trying to move a very large gentleman out of a chair. And 789.
Okay, you yank him out. He's like, "What the fuck?" The bus starts swerving at this point, so you all kind of gets thrown around, and yeah, you manage to like Sandra Bullock slide into the bus driver's seat as he goes stumbling down into the stairwell. Meanwhile, more curdling screams are happening in the back. That was your turn just to get onto the thing, so we're going to try to keep this thing. You hear more, and now you're starting to see some of these folks who up until this point have been this kind of glassy, that's a poor choice of words, glassy eye, long, like kind of stared off, 100-yard stare folks are starting to like kind of scramble out. And when you look down, there's no more gunfire anymore. And you just see like the guy that she had pinned against the wall has just been torn in two. Both of his bodies, both sides of his bodies are laying in the ground, blood everywhere. She leaps up onto the chair, like of one of the rows in front, and as one of these like homeless folks tries to get up and tries to move, like you see like one of the legs just pierce through the shoulder and out the front and kind of pin him back down into the chair. Alvin, Rust, what do you two want to do? Reverend Wood and Maria both tried to do something. No, Alvin, you did too, actually, didn't you? Didn't you roll a check? So, Coyote, what do you want
I
to
was
do?
just talking
here?
about him,
Coyote, Coyote he kind of grabs a hold of Drebin, pulls him in close, and he's like, "Don't tell the others, Dr. Drebin, but you were right. You were right. It's going to be okay. We're going to be just fine."
And you see, like, he's kind of in and out of consciousness. Like, he's kind of up, but like he's got, like, you could tell he's got probably a terrible concussion from getting like head butted right into the side of his. He kind of opens his eyes. His eyes get real wide, and he's just like, "I know what you are. You're worse than all of them. You're worse than the Vams. You're worse than the wolves. It's in you. It's in you."
And she wants to come out. And you're helping them let her free. So you're going to get your wish. You'll get to see her soon, I'm afraid.
And then I guess he just kind of, he does his sort of his laughter some more. And he's like, "Guess let them all kill each other." And then he thinks, "In a different life, I would have loved to get you under a microscope." What are the rest of you doing as you see absolute pandemonium as the back of the bus is a total bloodbath? And there is now a glassy demon leaping back and forth across the back of the bus, is torn through at least 4, if not more people back there. You guys want to do?
I'm waiting to abandon ship here.
Okay.
Yeah,
Maria,
Maria's
you pulling the
driving,
bus over?
so yeah. We're on the interstate, right?
You're on
The freeway.
I-10
Okay.
heading west.
Looking
We know it,
for
Alvin.
an exit ramp.
An exit ramp?
Well, we've got his drivers right behind us, so
That's true. You do. You did hear from Benjamin. He's right behind you.
That's
Okay.
right. Then I'll just pull off to the shoulder then.
Okay, so you're just going to pull off to the shoulder. All right.
Yeah.
Is there a driving skill? I don't think there's a driving skill. Is there a driving skill in this?
yeah,
There is a drive skill.
Roll a
Yes.
drive test. This is a big ass bus. There's craziness that's happening. You just sort of took this over from the guy. Roll a drive test to see if you can do this well. The danger level is fairly high, which is complicating some of your difficulties, by the way.
Sure.
So this one's going to, oh dear. To pull this over safely is going to be a difficulty 5.
Okay.
Roll it.
Can I make a
Come on,
case for
Sandy.
composure to be paired with my drive?
Absolutely.
Okay. So then I'm at least rolling 6 dice. And so
Okay.
then we'll see what comes up the roll.
I meant roll the bus, not the dice.
that's coming.
All right. So that is a 2 10s and 2 6s, which should be 6 successes.
That is 6 successes, and it's a crit. So with immense deftness, your bus, the bus that you're driving now, it's a high-end bus. It's not like, this isn't cheap. You have your own van that is it's not nearly as big as this thing, obviously, but you've probably at some point you've driven large trucks in your construction times,
Oh,
right?
yeah, for sure.
So yeah, you managed to quickly speed on over, and you guys weren't like in the right-hand lane. You're kind of like middle lane, and you like weave out of traffic. You hear some horns, and you managed to get right over onto the right-hand side, peel off into what looks like some of that desert landscaping there, and you hit the brakes. You hear this screech. Everyone kind of lunges forward a little bit, but not to the point where it's like anyone's getting hurt. No one's banging their heads. It's just sort of like a hard stop, and you come, and it's perfect. Like no rolling over. It doesn't even teeter. Had you failed, you were going to go on your side.
Sure. It is
Okay.
kind of a top heavy bus.
Van comes to a stop, and I'll say that you can hear screams at this point now of all these other folks now some of them are trying to open the window and trying to climb out windows. Others are trying to run up to the front of the bus. Alvin, Reverend Wood, what are you guys doing?
If the bus is stopped while I'm
Sure.
taking the action, I'm just getting off the bus.
Okay, you run off. You kind of like bump into some folks as they're getting off. You push down one of these poor homeless people and step over top of them so you can get off first. And then
I assumed we were near the front, but okay.
You're up towards the front. I'm just messing around. You get off the bus, no problem. Alvin.
I'm gonna help Drebin and Russ make sure they get off the bus as well.
Okay, you lean over. There's Drebin. He's kind of
Drebin,
awake.
I'll be fine.
Okay, so you grab Drebin, you throw him over your shoulder, no problem. He's not a huge dude. Throw him over your shoulder, and you start moving off the bus. Rust, what are you doing?
As Rust gets off the bus, he pulls his 45 out and puts 2 rounds, one in each of the knees of the driver.
Okay.
He goes, Granny's going to feast on your soul for what you did. Hell is where you're sleeping tonight.
Maria's just like, but we need him to tell us where to
We
go.
know where we're going.
I'm gonna say that happens. That's so cool. As he's kind of getting up,
Really
scrambling, he's kind of getting pushed around. Like some of the homeless folks who are trying to get off the bus now too are like kind of stomping over top of him. He was like kind of contorted. And as he's getting up, you just walk past 2 in the kneecaps. You step off. You guys are a few feet off of the bus. You guys are kind of shouting, yelling at one another, whatever it is, like saying, we got to get, like Maria's kind of shouting at Russ, whatever it is. And the guy is like screaming in pain. And when you look up a second later, you just see him suddenly whoosh, disappear from the staircase. He's just sort of pulled out. Now, you do notice at the same time that as the numbers are coming off, like basic head count, it's not just these Lockroom agents that she attacked. She took out whatever was in her way. So you do get the feeling that it's not that she's on your side. It's just that she'll take out whatever.
She's always hungry. We need to move.
And so we see the Benz coming up. What's the Benz look like there, Wood? As you see Benjamin.
It's a shiny black Mercedes Benz. It's a bit thicker than most because it is, of course, armored. This is something that you can actually buy in the market. It's only $250,000, very affordable. And Ben is technically a bodyguard, but he's like, for rent. It's not like he would die for me type bodyguard.
Okay, fair enough. You guys huddle into the Benz. Probably a little uncomfortable, I would say, in the back, but you still get in and everything's fine. And where do we head?
Away from the bus for now.
Okay. You do see, as you guys are driving past, there is shattered glass. And as you're driving, as you peel out into the lane and drive past the bus, you can see all of the windows start to just burst, one after the other, right in perfect timing as the Mercedes moves past. Okay. So you get back on the road, leaving the terror on the bus. I wanted to make sure that we had some crazy scene on the highway at some point. And Steven ruined it by being the last one I tried by being a paper thin character. So we got another one. All right.
Not my fault. I had a knife in my ear. Okay.
It actually kind of is your fault. You're the one who ate the drugs. I didn't tell you to eat the drugs. Okay. So you guys head on out.
Yeah. So somebody who knows where we're going should be driving because Maria has
Sure.
not been there before.
Ben is driving. He's the driver.
Yeah, you can tell them. So Alvin, you know that. Rust, you know it. So you can tell them how to get there. It's no problem. Anything doing on the route, or are we just driving? You're not that far away at this point, as you probably made it halfway there, I would say, in the bus before everything went to shit.
Rust is still just humming under his breath.
Okay.
I'm texting my lawyer, making sure that my will is still up to date and everything, that he has that on file.
Okay. You get a text back. New phone, new dis. You don't know who it is. No. You get a text back, and like there's like, yes, is there something wrong there, Reverend? Question mark.
No reply back.
Okay.
Just needed some reassurance there because things are not going well.
So seeing the Rev texting, Bria will take a deep breath and try to text Evie.
Oh, now you want to text her? Okay. You get no response back.
I'll let my wife know that Seely's fine and I'm going to get her.
Okay. You go to check your phone. There are several messages. that are not very kind. Some of them are voicemail, some of them are text, that are calling into question various aspects of your character, including your decency, your manhood, your fatherhood, all sorts of things. But when you text that back, you do get a text back almost immediately. What do you mean? What do you mean? And then the phone starts ringing, and you see it's Lucia.
I'll take a call while we're driving.
Okay, so phone answers. You answer the phone. Where the fuck are you, Alvin? Where are you? It's our daughter. What is wrong with you? Where are you?
I'm on my way to get her right now. Don't worry.
Get
she's
her.
fine.
Where is she?
She's in the playroom.
In a playroom. I've called the Thompsons. I've called the school. I've called everyone. I've called all of the parents of her friends. No one knows where she's at. And you suddenly do?
I'll explain all later, but
It's our
she's fine.
daughter. Explain now. There's hands-free devices.
Someone's got her. I don't know who.
Who? She would.
Alvin, do you want me to explain it to her?
Maria is literally going to
That
like
would
put
be
her
the
hand
best.
over Rust's mouth.
That would be the best.
Put her on speakerphone. We'll sort this out.
And she's like screaming at the top of her lungs, who?
Wait, there was a name, right? That was dropped. It was like, oh, no, that was the.
You don't have a name for
Okay,
for the vamp that was in charge of everything. You just know that it was probably the woman's from the woman's sire from the club.
Right. Yeah, I don't even know who. If I knew, I'd tell you.
Okay. She's just screaming. You guys all hear her very, very clearly. Might be kind of uncomfortable. Her just screaming expletive after expletive at Alvin.
Alvin, the church provides couples counseling for free if you need it.
You will.
I'm sure we will.
Do you hang up the phone on her?
I'll just let her go off of me
Okay.
and just sort of like zoned out.
And at a certain point, she stops screaming. Yeah, go ahead, Russ.
No. I was just,
At-
Maria, while all the noise is going on, and can I borrow your phone to text Sister LeBlanc? I promise I won't break it.
Just saying, you realize that you talked about Sister LeBlanc in front of the guy on the TV, right?
She's a known.
But you did that.
The Society of Leopold is well known to these leeches. She's a soldier. She just needs to be warned that they're coming.
All right. She grabs burner number 7 out of her back and hands it to you.
And he, instead of telling her anything about the leech, he just says, "You were wrong. Granny's back. She's clawing out of me now. Take care of the rest of them if they live." Then he deletes the text and hands it back.
Okay. Okay. Alvin on the phone. Eventually the screams turns to sobbing. Anything yet? This is what it's like being in a relationship. with
Alvin,
Laura.
this is so brutal. The cold shoulder, that's the most evil thing I've seen in an RPG.
She's just weeping. All of you can hear her weeping too.
So much worse than a glass demon.
I'm sorry, but I'll be home soon. That'll hang up.
Dude. Okay.
I have seen people commit war crimes in D&D
Right?
that weren't this bad.
Wow. Oh, someone said in the chat a second ago, maybe Rust was the villain all along. Maybe Alvin's been the villain the whole time.
Oh, he's getting up there.
Cruel.
He's got his own demons.
All right. Eventually, all of you make it to Sunset Trails. You get off on the exit, head up. You're way out west. It's dark. It's nighttime. By the time you get out there, it is 9:30, 10 o'clock. You can see that this section of the neighborhood, or this section of the valley, kind of an old, kind of skews a little older in terms of age, and so communities are kind of shutting down. And there's kind of this eerie quiet to the streets. Like there's just not many cars on the road. You can see some of the stores have closed down, and all that's really open along the way is like a scattered gas station or two. Otherwise, it's a very, very dark kind of road there. It's also a part of the valley that's still kind of being built up on. So there's a lot of huge stretches of desert where there's just nothing. And so it's just this dark blackness for a while. But eventually you come up, there's Sunset Trails. There are two entrances. There's the main entrance by the leasing office. There's the side entrance that was for like freight and stuff like that. There's that cinder block wall that goes around the whole darn thing. What do you guys want to do?
Drive up to the intercom.
Drive up to the intercom. There is a camera. So intercom would be with Ben. So he'll look to you, Reverend. What do you want me to do, sir?
Sort of just roll the back windshield down and stick Ribbon's head out.
Okay. You hear a buzz and the gate starts to open.
Reverend,
Great plan.
Reverend, are you sure you want everyone to go in there? We may not be coming back out.
Benjamin looks at you.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, poor
That's what
driving.
I thought too.
This.
Yeah. He just kind of looks over towards you, Reverend. Rev,
Let us
what's,
out here. Ben, go ahead and park outside. And if you get any trouble, feel free to drive off.
Does he know anything about this? About the World of Darkness? Does he know anything at all?
No, like he's driven me to a lot of seedy places before.
Sure.
But he doesn't actually know anything about the supernatural.
And so he's like, yes, sir. Do you want me to? Do you want me to notify Miss Wood?
If I don't come back in a few hours, go ahead and finish your shift. Go home, and I'll make sure you get that bonus we talked about.
Hesitates. Has like a little bit of concern on his face. But then he nods. And he does a little turnaround. And you guys are walking in. So he does a little turnaround. You guys are all out. Alvin, you've got Drebin over your shoulder. You guys walk inside. You hear the gates close behind you. And you're maybe 15, 20 feet in when all of a sudden you hear doosh, 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 as all of the street lights go off in here. And it becomes pitch black with the exception of the bright beacon of light that is the clubhouse.
He made darkness his covering, his canopy around him, the dark rain clouds of the sky. Psalm 18, verse 11.
Every single resident in here is a feral animal that's going to try to tear us to pieces. We need a defensible location inside of the clubhouse.
As he says that, you guys hear in the bushes off to the side, you just hear footsteps.
Make every shot count if you have to take them. They're stronger than they look.
And you realize there's people following you. Like you look behind you now and you can see maybe 20 feet. There's like about 10 dark, shadowy figures that are just trailing you at a distance. You hear
Maria's gonna take off running.
Are we all armed?
They never took your weapons.
I mean, I'm asking the group, like, what weapons do you guys actually have? Because we do have a shotgun. I don't necessarily need it.
I've got an SAS dagger, a 38 snub nose, and that H&K 45 we took a couple sessions ago.
My hands are still on me.
Lethal weapon.
You look down, they're gone.
Oh no.
Just stubs. Smooth.
Maria, what do you got?
I've got a pistol of some kind.
I'll give you the shotgun if you want it, Lynn, because I'm not a good shot at all.
Okay.
Maria will look at Alvin and just see if he wants the gun.
Take the pistol just in case. But
So this is all happening before Maria breaks into a
Yeah,
sprint.
before
Yeah.
I would say before we got out of the car.
Yeah, I'll give Alvin the
That's
38.
Okay. So then, Maria, you look back, you see all those people. There's about 10 people,
Running
just
toward the
shadows.
clubhouse.
They're just shadows. You don't see faces. You don't see clothing. You just see just like this line of shadows following you.
Booking
You
it,
hear the
running.
sounds of people in the bushes near you. You hear footsteps to the side in the shadows between some of these trailers. You just start booking it.
Clubhouse.
Okay. The rest of you running? You're just going to let her go up ahead.
Oh yeah,
She'll
I'll
clear
run
the way.
after her.
As fast as this old man can go.
All right. You guys start running, jogging.
Russ is
whatever it might be.
kind of keeping the rear guard.
Sure. You look back, Russ, and you can see like they're jogging. There's like they're matching your speed and matching your speed and matching your speed. You look over towards some of like the side roads and you start seeing like this convergence as more of these groups start coming up as well.
They're hurting us, but it's all right. Let's just make for the clubhouse.
Eventually, you guys make it to the clubhouse parking lot. You can see that there are people here. There's lights, very bright. So for the first time, you're not running around in darkness. You notice that. See, Alvin and Russ were here last time because Steven, you were playing different characters, so you wouldn't know. Okay, so Alvin and Russ, you see those same, like you can kind of tell the difference between. So just to sort of remind folks, like there were kind of two different mobs, essentially. Like there were like the stronger kind of ghoulish figures, and then there were these like just like the mass, right? Like that were enhanced, but didn't seem to have like the strength in the like the regenerative power as like some of the ghouls that you guys fought inside the clubhouse. And then there's just this other mass here that are, which I would say you're probably all smart enough to realize are just kind of hyped up on whatever it is that like Drebin and his pharmaceutical experimentation was kind of pumping into them. And this is a retirement community, but they're moving around with like this fervor, this alacrity, but they're kind of keeping their distance from you. They never get too close. If you move towards them, they move away. They're almost kind of shadowing you in a very alarming fashion. But you get to the parking lot and you can see there are about 5 others now that are standing in the light out in front of the main entrance to the clubhouse. You can see they're there. They're kind of got their arms crossed. They're like these big kind of security guys, or like they're bigger. You can tell just by looking at them, Alvin and Russ, that there's more to them. One of them steps forward, and you can hear, and they just say, "Where's the bus?"
The bus didn't make it. Your men on the bus decided that they wanted to beat on me for a while, and the demon that's devouring my soul decided to eat them and the bus.
Maria will kind of interrupt him and just say, yeah, it's on the 10 just west of 75th. Side of the road. Wasn't drivable anymore.
They kind of like exchange looks at one another. They look at Russ. They look at each other. And one of them kind of does the whole like nod with his head. And you see one of the 5 runs inside. You got Drebin.
I'll show him driven.
Got to flop him down right there in front of him, like on this little sidewalk thing. And that's when you guys start to notice that the whole parking lot, this relatively empty parking lot around this clubhouse, is now beginning to fill with dozens and dozens and dozens of people, just like you guys saw it before, as if they're waiting for the bus to come, but it's not. So you drop it down and you just hear, "Stupid son of a bitch. Ruining everything. Had a good thing here. All right. Hang on. Which one of you is, you know?"
The vampire slayer?
I stabbed her with my sword. Now step forward.
They look over at you, this older man stepping forward with a cane. Do you still have your cane, your sword cane with you?
Yeah, I've got my. It's actually a different cane because I left the other one at the club.
I'm sorry. Did you roll your requisition roll for that to get that?
I don't need to because
No.
I have 4 pips in resources.
Oh, wow. Okay. but does that allow you to also have a helicopter, 50 freaking cars, a whole bunch? Like, isn't there a
It
point
allows
where
me to
that
have
has
pretty
stop?
much anything I want that you can
Man.
buy legally.
It's the
Don't
mega
think you-
rich.
Don't think you understand what the underdog themes of a hunter campaign are supposed to be here.
No.
So they look over at you. They look over at you, Rev. And they're like, no. And they kind of eye on Alvin. Like, is it you? They kind of look at Alvin because you're pretty good looking. You're a big dude. You're a judo master, right? So they're kind of looking at you and they're like, and then one of them, you hear coughs like, no, it's that one. And I would say maybe for the faintest moment, you all kind of like recognize the face. It's just one of the guards that were kind of working the show or something like that. Like you've seen the face before, but you never really had any kind of interaction. And he points at Rust, like this teenager, beaten to within a couple inches of his life, right? And so a couple of exchanges, and they just kind of shrug. It's at that point that you see like the fifth guy come back. Who went and ran inside. He said to bring him in. So he looks down at Drebin. He's like, yeah, you can go ahead and pick him back up there, big guy.
I do so.
All right. So they start leading you inside. Any of you doing anything? At any point you want to do anything, just say so.
And Russ is just, his head's on the swivel. He's looking for anything out of the ordinary or any way that he can try to make sure that everybody else gets out of here in one piece. So exits, any of that kind of nonsense that we didn't pick up the last time we were here.
Gotcha. So I think you guys went in the back way by the pools, to
Yeah,
the
came with the pool.
clubhouse rooms. Yeah, so I think you would know that. You would know, and then you ran out, kind of jumped over the wall at one point. I think Alvin was kind of like leading you there, or this was kind of standing on top of the wall, kind of signaling you. There's probably better routes than others that you might be able to take. Nothing too obvious in terms of like this is the clear path, but I would say you would have like a good sense of direction. So you go inside, and Alvin and actually no, I don't think Alvin ever went inside. I think it was just Rust and Rena who were inside.
Yeah, just Russ and Rena.
So Russ, you see the familiar room. It's got like these beautiful kind of, you think it's probably faux wood, you're not sure, like these little panels along the way with a variety of like these kind of mirrors and other kind of glass decorative windows and such. There are what looks like some throws that have been put over some stuff, some tarps. And you also see the kind of grand staircase, that double-sided staircase that goes up to the second level. There's little hallways that kind of go off in different directions. Rusty recognized the one that goes into like the locker room and everything. Off to the right, you can see one that seems to head towards, which you would like a sign probably says is sort of like a dining room, that kind of thing. And so the five guys who kind of lead you in, they're kind of wearing that same really kind of mundane looking like collared shirts and khakis and such as you come in, and it's fairly dark, but the lights kind of flicker on, like they kind of dim up a little bit, and you hear the sounds of heavy footsteps, like loud echoing footsteps, and you see at the top of the stairs in a blue-gray suit, very clean and sleek. You see the same man that you saw on the video kind of step out of the office at the very top of the stairs. You can see that he's got what looks like maybe about 5'10", 5'11". He's not very tall, fairly slender. And you can tell that as he's kind of stepping out, he's kind of fixing his tie a little bit. And he looks down and he says to Alvin, Maria, and Wood, "Your people are on the premises. Leave the murderer and leave the coward here. And the three of you can go fetch them and leave."
Russ turns to
People leave
Maria.
first.
Revan, I didn't hear what you said. Can you say it again?
Our people leave first. I have a driver outside. He'll see them to safety.
Your people are on the premises. Leave the murderer and the coward here. You can go fetch them and leave. I will not say this a third time.
It's okay, Reverend. It's going to be okay. Tell Sarah that I'll miss her cookies.
I sort of just leave Drebin wherever.
Just drop him, flop him on the ground. Yeah, drop him there, and he's still in and out of consciousness, concussion. He's like opening up. He's in bad shape.
Maria's going to turn to Alvin and the Reverend and just say, "That's it. We just give up one of our own."
Maria, you know what? She's not going to let me go, Maria. It's okay. You're safer if I'm not with you anymore. Don't let me hurt you too, please.
Why did you have to be so impetuous all the time?
I could say it's something inside of me, but I don't know.
And Maria's just sort of doing the math of like all the people in the room and all the people that were outside and just looking for some sign of fight in her companions and not seeing any of it.
Maria, there'll be a fight. She doesn't like anybody else to play with her toys. You just don't want to be here when it happens.
Sorry, I couldn't help you, Rust.
You did, Alvin. That judo move you showed me last week. I wish I'd had time to master it.
And Maria will look at the Reverend and just say, "Now you don't have words of wisdom? Some final prayer for him?"
You can see that he's taking a moment thinking. He turns to step away and stops. I'm reminded of a verse. Rescue those who are being taken away to death. I know I should help Sarah. And yet the verse continues. Hold back those who are stumbling towards the slaughter. Proverbs 24, verse 11. I'm with you, Rust.
Reverend, this isn't your fight, but everyone's got to make their own choice.
The Lord put me here for a reason. This is my fight.
And Maria's going to look at Alvin.
I have a kid, man.
And
You got to vote.
that's right. You're right. You're right.
Somebody's got to live for season 2.
If it was his wife, he would be perfectly fine staying here and fighting. The kid, on the other hand.
His wife is scarier than Granny.
And there's no judgment on Maria's face towards Alvin whatsoever. And Maria's already lost Katja during this chronicle. And so Maria is just going to look at Rust. and look at Rev.
You don't understand. When she comes, she'll take everyone. And there's nothing I'll be able to do to stop it. You can't fight her. You should run while you can.
She is as strong as you say she is. And Maria will look towards kind of the agents and, you know, kind of the gentleman, and she'll kind of put her hands up a bit, but see if they will kind of let her just sort of go over and just sort of pat Rust on the shoulder. She's got hands up, like she's not just looking.
They're
for
not
kind of
interfering
permission.
with you at all. Like all the guys, if there's, I mean, you're surrounded, you're flanked. They're all watching you intently. Like all of the guys at the bottom level. The man at the top has said, you know, is just watching you carefully and quietly, and is kind of stiff as a board, standing, you know, perfectly straight, staring down, very patiently waiting.
Maria will walk over and just kind of just pat Rust on the outside of the arm. I don't even pretend to understand everything that you've been through. I forgive you.
Thank you, Maria. I think I'd just been dead for so long. Thank you for being my friend. But please run. Please run. It's okay. I died when I was 10 and I don't even know who I was. It's okay.
Oh, and she'll gesture over to the Reverend. Look after him. And she'll kind of nod in the direction of the Reverend. I will gotta take this one home.
I'll walk up to Alvin and do like the handshake thing and hand off a set of keys. If you look at them, you'll see the Lexus logo on there. Have Ben take you to the church. There's $50,000 in the trunk of my Lexus. That should be enough to get you going.
I mean, I won't refuse.
And I'll walk to stand next to Maria.
So, Rust is staying. Reverend, you're staying?
I'm staying.
Alvin's leaving. Maria, what are you doing? Only one I'm not sure about.
I will look to the Reverend. There's no coming out of this.
Sarah and I are partners. We went into this war willingly. We both know the risks. She would be making the same choice.
I'm not the praying kind, but I hope for a miracle. And she'll just kind of nod in Alvin's direction and walk toward Alvin.
You see Quixote visibly sighs with relief when Maria decides to leave. He was sick at the thought that she was going to stay and die.
So at this point, one of the attendants here gets kind of pulls off from their position by the door. He says to Alvin and Maria, "Come with me." Pushes the front door back open, and kind of holds it open for you two to go through.
I'll follow him wherever he leads.
Okay. So the three of you go outside. Inside, the guy at the very top looks down, and he says, Reverend, have you made your decision?
Yes.
Good. Kill him. And then the guys on the side will all converge on Wood. And in a flash, the dude up top is just whoosh in the direction of Rust. So let's begin. Meanwhile, out front, they start walking you away. You don't really necessarily hear anything once the doors are closed. You're kind of immediately being moved away. He's kind of just leading you. He's got this like what looks like a clipboard where he's just kind of going through. And he says, when you get your people, get out fast. They're hungry tonight and they didn't get their meal. And he kind of says, looks over at Maria, and she's Section A, Trailer 17. Looks over towards you, Alvin, Section B, Trailer 9. Once you get them, you're on your own.
The others.
That's not the deal. You get your own. And he starts walking back.
Okay.
Okay. So let's
Wait,
all
what-
do this at once. Let's all do
What did he
this.
read that off of? Like, was he?
He's got a clipboard.
just-
He's basically
just
got a
like-
clipboard. Yeah. He
Is
just
there a way
got
I
his
could
clipboard
like
out.
sneak peek it sort of deal?
Jab him in the throat.
Sneak peek it. I don't think he would have allowed you to get close enough to do like just a simple peek. But if you can try to muscle it off of him. That's fine. Like I have no problem with that at all.
Just sort of like a fumble, maybe like trip up and then he drops it or some sort of.
Okay, so let's do this as part of initiative. So we'll start with Alvin, who's sort of like declaring his actions. Let's just make sure we're doing this right, as this is the final like battle here. Let's make sure we're doing this correct. So remember, initiative turns, we kind of effectively declare. There's no real initiative, and what you're doing, sort of like what you declare your intent is kind of what's going to go first. So melee combatants that are already engaged are going to go first, and then it's kind of, after that it's like ranged, etc. So Alvin, I would consider this melee. So you're trying to essentially create sort of like accidentally stumble into him and kind of see if you can like knock it to the ground and get a look at it or something like that. Maria, you don't necessarily know that's what he's doing, but what would you be doing, Maria?
Because I didn't know that he was going to do that. Maria was just waiting because she was thinking that like we would go together to get Sealy first.
Okay. So you're not going to do anything? I just want to make sure. You're not going to do anything in particular?
No, because I'm not going to meta because I didn't know he was going to do that.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you. Okay, inside, we're going to do this all at once. So inside, Reverend, you see all the ghouls are just in an instant. It does like he hasn't even finished with the order. They're just charging at you. So there were 5. One of them left with Alvin and Maria. So there's 4 left, and they're all going at the Reverend. The guy at the top is just using that sort of rush ability is sort of chasing down towards Quixote. So that's kind of what's happening. What are you guys doing inside?
I repel the unnatural.
Of course. And then Reverend Wood, what are you gonna do here?
I'm pulling my sword out of the cane and slicing at the first one that comes at me.
Now, are the Reverend and I standing next to one another?
You're probably within a
Okay.
couple feet, enough
Okay.
that you would probably get your dome.
Yeah, because it's a
I would
2
say.
meter. 2 meter.
Yeah, I think
from
you're
me.
close enough. Yeah, that's definitely close enough. So it's a range thing, right, Quixote?
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's I guess a range thing. It's resolve and occult. But
Okay. All right. Why don't we do? And so Reverend, are you gonna like just defend yourself? You're gonna stab anyone that comes at you? Is that what you're basically doing?
You said the big guy was coming towards us too, right?
Yeah, but you could
Or
tell
just
he's
the ghouls?
going after Rust. We'll say you guys are on, you're within 5-6 feet of each other, but you can tell just from the way he's going that he's going towards Rust.
If the ghouls are getting through, I want to go attack whoever comes at me. Otherwise, like, I would go towards the big guy. I don't know.
Okay. All right. So let's start with Quixote then. I think is going to make more sense because that'll determine how a lot of this is going to play out. So go ahead.
I was just saying, so resolve plus occult Plus, I did take the creature specialization vampire after I killed that vampire. So that's 7 dice. And you said we've got 6 danger dice now? Or 6 desperation dice?
No, there's 4 desperation, but it'd be up to 5. I would put it at 5 at this point. 5 is the max.
I'm going to go ahead and roll them because, hey, end game.
Absolutely.
How many dice do you have?
It's a ridiculous amount.
And I will tell you that the difficulty to repel him,
10.
the vampire, naturally will be
10.
greater than these.
I got 2 crits.
Okay.
So that's 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 to repel. No ones on the desperation dice.
You immediately, like, what does it look like again? Because I know you got the tattoos and everything.
So yeah, the Enochian script on his arms really glows violently now, but it's an angry red instead of the clean kind of yellow that it used to be. And then on the palms of his hands, and it's all like a heat shimmer coming off of his hands, just pushing out.
Reverend, you see this, and as you get your sword ready, you see all of the creatures that are charging in at you, all 5 of these, vampire and these ghoulish attendants, are effectively stopped. Like they just lurch and kind of stumble back. So I will give you, like, is there something you want to do with that in case they're not right next to you? You couldn't necessarily do a melee attack against them because they have been essentially pushed back because you're right next to Rust. So what would you want to do then in that case, Rust? Or Woods?
I would like to use that space to move towards the big vamp and stab him with the sword just like I did as kid.
Okay. If you move up into the range to attack him, he will attack you back. Just so you know, it is contested. So like just... right now, he's not on you guys. So it's up to you.
What'd you say, Rust?
I said, I like it. It's ballsy. Go out in a blaze of glory.
Okay. Yeah. We got to do damage at some point, right? And I'm a DPS here, of course. You know, Rust isn't our main guy. I am.
No. Yeah,
despite what Jeff's been saying this whole session, of course.
So behind the scenes little competition here between like
I can hold my own.
Okay.
All right, so the Reverend twists off the sheath of his cane sword, throws away the blunt side, swings the blade, and just rushes towards the big guy. It is better for us to die in battle than to see the misfortune of our nation and of the sanctuary. Maccabees 3, verse 59.
Difficulty 7.
That's nothing. I do CrossFit. Have I mentioned
Size,
that?
I think I'm allowed to
go. And I would like to use our dice also. The despair dice is 2, right?
So it has to be connected to your creed.
No,
yes,
my creed is
my creed.
Yeah, you're fine, Russ. What's yours? What?
I am the faithful. So I feel like I'm defending the faith here. That my creed is faithful.
Defending the faith. By defending
faithful, I'm faithful to Sarah. I'm faithful to the church. These are a blight on the church. No.
We do have 4
it's fine,
audience dice.
No,
I'll use some audience dice.
It's all good. It's all good. You can take it. It's fine.
You sure?
Just don't.
If it doesn't work that way, I'm fine not doing it.
Just don't roll ones on those dice.
All right, so I get 7 base.
That is the downside. Is desperation dice. If you roll 1, bad things happen.
Right. I'm doing metal ones with them, so I remember. Oh, I need 1 more. Yeah. All right. I did roll a 1 on a desperation die.
Oh man, it's the first time this has happened. Oh my goodness. Okay.
This is my second time using desperation dice too. I did get a crit though, and then that is a 9. Sorry. That is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 successes. What did I need?
You need 7. So you did 1
7.
point of superficial damage. However, you did roll a 1, so you have to make a choice here. You can either increase the danger, which is overreach. So actually, that's one of the options. The other options is you do the despair. Test fails automatically regardless of the roll, and you can't use drive or desperation dice until you've redeemed yourself, because it was successful. So you can choose.
Okay, so this is unfair to everyone, but I'm going to increase danger. So the
it's one way
test
to
works.
go. Yeah.
Okay. And was there any bonus
Sorry, y'all.
damage on your weapon?
I think it was 3 damage for my sword. I don't remember. I got it here. No bonus damage.
Okay, so it's 1
The
point.
stat was like 1 point higher than a knife, which I think was 2. Is that what you mean by bonus damage?
Base, yeah, it's base damage.
Yeah,
It's
base
2.
damage, basically. What's the base damage on it?
I'm sorry, I don't actually have it written down because
All right, we'll just
I,
treat it
I
like a
think we
knife.
said
We'll
it was
say plus
2 because it was higher than
Yeah.
a knife, which is 1.
We'll say +2. So you're going to do a total of 3 superficial damage. Okay. So then you've made yourself vulnerable by stepping out and away and meeting. So the ghouls are going to get to you, and they will continue. You've managed to hold off the vampire. However, you've stepped away from Rust. You've stepped in range of this thing, which means the others can, especially since Rust's ability is known at this point, are going to get on you now. Okay, so you can. These are all contested. This is all in close. Everyone's in kind of close proximity to one another. So just double checking their stats really fast here. All right, so then Reverend,
I have stabbed 2 different vampires. I think that's impressive.
I truly think it is easy to do.
I feel like I'm a
I
threat
have now
here, Jeff.
played 2 vampires against you guys, and I feel like I can't do anything with them. So I don't know, unless I'm just playing them wrong. Gould and Habit.
Don't worry, you're about ready to get to do something with him in a minute, probably.
So the ghouls. Okay, so if you're gonna defend, so each time you roll, you're gonna lose a die on your defense against this Reverend Wood. Okay. So the first one is going to come at you. The difficulty is going to be 5. So go ahead and roll. You can use your melee with your sword. That's fine.
Would that be dex or strength?
I think it's strength. I think that's what melee is. It's strength.
I didn't know if it was different because I'm like parrying.
No, I think it's just all under strength. Yeah, strength plus melee for weapons.
All right. Do I still get my
You can
specialty
opt to-
sword for my
if you
skill?
Yeah, that's fine.
Do I still get a specialty? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
So
The other
that's
option
7 dice
is
then.
If you don't want to do fighting back like that, you can always dodge as well, but it means you can't do damage if you win the contest.
No, I'd rather parry.
Okay.
All right. Shit. 3 success. Oh no, 4 successes. What did I need?
You needed 5.
Okay, I missed.
Okay. You want to willpower it up to try to get another?
Yeah, you're right. I should. That's my last willpower though.
Okay.
Something happens when you max out your willpower.
I did get
Become impaired.
1 more success, so I'm at 5, and I'm now
Okay.
impaired. Yes.
You do manage to kind of fend off the first of these, but you, in doing so, become impaired. Trying to remember.
It was
looking
2
it up.
dice from all relevant dice pools. So
Okay.
any mental dice pools will be at -2.
So anything that
Okay.
involves willpower. Okay. All right. Next one will come in.
Thank you, Mo.
Difficulty on this one will also be 5. And again, you're down
And I
1
lose 1
less
die,
dice. Yeah. And you didn't, unfortunately.
How many
weren't able to
audience
do-
dice do we have?
We have 4.
Melissa knows. Okay.
I'll take 1 to put me back up to 7. God damn it. That's only 3, and I got no more willpower to spend.
Okay. So no more willpower to spend. Difficulty is 5. You rolled a 3, so that's 2 damage. As they are going to effectively just sort of kind of tackle you. They're
Yeah.
like, it's really just sort of they're being like putting their grubby palms on you. They don't have any. Doesn't look like they actually have any weapons. They're just sort of beating you and trying to hold you.
That's aggravated, right?
No, this one's, I would actually call this
Okay.
just superficial. Yeah. So then the next one will come up. This time's difficulty of 4, actually. But you also have -2 dice.
All right, I won't take audience dice this time. I rolled 2 crits. I rolled
Okay.
4 10s and a 1.
Gosh.
4 10s and a 1.
Oh my
That's-
goodness. I got to take a picture. I'm proud of that.
That's exactly what you would need.
Good job,
Um,
dice. Good job.
And I'll say, because it's a crit, I'll say he comes in at you and maybe you kick, like as one of them's wrapping their arms around you and like they're sort of yanking on and they're pulling your arm kind of out of its socket almost. You manage to get a leg up and kick the other one. And it kind of, I'll say one of them goes, because it's a crit, will stumble to the ground. No damage, but we'll say falls prone or something like that. And then the last one, difficulty of 5.
All right. I will take another audience die here because I'm down to 4 dice.
Okay, down to 2.
Only 3 successes.
Okay. 2 more points of superficial damage is now there's 2 of them that are basically hugging over top of you. You've managed to fend 2 of them off, but all of the creatures now are surrounding you as you have stepped away from the protection of Rust.
Precisely my plan.
This
And then he
has-
pulls the tactical nuke out.
Yeah, exactly.
I got him where I want him.
If only Linda was here with her grenades. Oh, it's a shame.
Just trying to kill some bugs, sir.
Let's go back outside. You guys are, 20, 30 feet away as you've been walking. Alvin, go ahead and roll whatever it is you would want to roll. If you're trying to do this accidentally, you're not really trying to necessarily harm him, but you're just kind of accidentally bump into him. You can just roll like an athletics or something like that. It's fine.
Yeah, I can do that.
Strength, that's fine with me. We'll say difficulty 3 is fine.
I rolled exactly 3 of my 7 dice.
You accidentally stumble into him, and he's like, "What the fuck, man?" And
Pardon me.
you both go stumbling to the ground. You hear the clacking of the clipboard.
I'll help him up and sort of just hand the clipboard to him as well while I get a
Okay.
peek at it.
Roll an awareness wits, because there are a lot of things on here. Okay, difficulty is only 2, but the better you do, the more people you might be able to notice.
Okay. I have 5 here. Only 2 success, but I'll spend the willpower to reroll 3.
Okay.
And that'll give me all 5.
Okay. So you're basically just looking for Sarah, right?
And Ed, I believe, was Linda's.
Okay. That would get you Ed as well. So with the extra successes on top of that, you do notice the name for Sarah Wood very clearly. She is also in Section B. She is in Trailer 14. And then when you're looking at Ed, I think it's Ed Johnson. Yeah, Ed Johnson you see as well. He's in Trailer A, or excuse me, he's in Section A, Trailer 2. So they're both in Section A and B, which are basically on the west side of the complex. But you help him up. Since you're not hitting him, he's just kind of shoving you, but he doesn't like get the fuck off me, man. Give me that. And kind of snatches it out of your hand. And then he kind of looks at you very clearly and he says, "Go get your people and we'll see if you get out of here alive. See ya." And he starts to turn around and like walk back towards the clubhouse. Okay. So let's go ahead and next round. Alvin and Maria, since we're here with you, are you guys just walking away?
Yeah, we're going to leave. Head to those trailers.
Okay. You're going to start jogging towards one of them?
Yeah, whichever one Seely's in, I'm assuming.
B.
Okay. So you guys head in that direction. And then we go back inside. Reverend has 2 guys like draped over top of him. One guy has been kicked down to the ground. Then the 4th guy who was kind of like brawling and kind of got stabbed, cut on the arm a little bit. And then the vampire himself is also on top of him. So all of them are in melee range of the Reverend. Kyoto, you're a few feet away, just outside of your range. What do you guys want to do?
Coyote is going to move up and focus all of his hatred and rage into his fist. He knows he's going to die here, but he wants to hurt this vampire. He wants the
Okay.
vampire to remember him. He comes up,
Okay.
he's screaming. He's like, "You're going to see her face soon, Leech."
Difficulty 7.
Now, our danger die did go up by, our desperation die did go up by 1 because of that. One,
There's
right?
a
So we're
max
at
of
5
5
now?
There's a
Okay,
max
we're
of
at 5.
5. Your danger also went up
Yeah.
too. Which,
So we're, yeah,
which
of course.
scales, which I've been scaling some of the difficulty with danger for certain rolls.
So strength of 3, brawling of 3, and I got 2 bonus die for him being a vampire, and I will roll the 5 desperation die. 7, 8, 10, 10, 9, 9, 6, 7. And I'll spend a willpower point to re-roll 3 of the dice that didn't go. No ones. And I got a 7 on that one. The other 2 didn't go. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Okay.
Points. Well, 12 to hit.
Vampires are the weakest creatures. I don't get it. Like I literally
I don't
just
know why they don't have
sword.
armor.
Why
How
is this
how
so
could they
weak?
resist
I
me?
don't understand.
I don't know why they
that's
don't
8
have armor.
superficial. I don't know. Maybe there won't be a season 2. That's 5. So
But
13,
now I've got to
13 or
try-
12. 13 or 12.
12.
12. Okay, so that's 5. So that's super. So it's going to go into superficial. Okay. All right. Got it.
But that drops my power, so I have to immediately attempt to regain the warding effect. Is that 7 as well? Difficulty?
Let me see. Yes, it is. Man, we're rolling a lot of 9s tonight.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, I will. I'll spend another point of willpower and roll 3 more die. Okay, 7. I got exactly 7. So the ward stays up,
Okay.
but I'm starting to hurt for willpower.
But you're right on top of them now.
Yeah.
So what happens when the ward comes up? Because they were already within that range. So what exactly happens in that case?
I don't know. Either I guess either they get pushed back. I think they just can't engage with me. I don't know that they would necessarily get moved back
Okay.
away
wasn't
from
sure
me.
if
I
it
just
was-
think they can't strike out at me.
All right, Reverend, what are you up to?
All right, so I got these 2 on me. Does that mean that I can't attack the main vampire? Like, are they holding me back?
The difficulty will be increased if you try. But they're literally draped over top of you. Like their
Right.
whole goal was essentially just to get on top of you.
I want to cut the head off the snake, though. So even with the increased difficulty, I'm going to try it.
Okay.
I'm just yelling out, "The Lord is my strength and my shield," Psalm 28, verse 7, and I'm slicing with the sword again. Maria, I will take another audience die if we have one left.
We are down to
coming down.
1.
All right, so that's 8 total for me. Yeah, that's enough. You know, how many do I need? No, I'm sorry, 9 total because I get my specialty for my sword.
Thanks for that sub.
Thanks, Eddie.
Shit. That's 3 successes. And I can't spend any more willpower to reroll.
Okay. 3 successes. Difficulty was 7. Actually, difficulty would have gone higher, but I mean, unless I'm allowed to go above what's on the chart, I'm at 7 difficulty, which means as you lunge at it, you miss. And they take advantage of it. And they, let's see, what can I do? I think I can only bite you if I'm grappling, but I can still just hurt you. So
Is this the heroic end of the Reverend Dr. Solomon Wood?
I'm buying you time.
Yeah, I can't really. So bite is specifically against a grappled opponent. So we'll just say as you lunge at him, you miss completely. And we'll say that like they manage to kind of grab your arm and you just hear this sickening crunch as the strength of the vampire just almost you feel a bone just pop. But you still somehow manage to keep your grip on the sword. Your arm goes numb. But you can take 4 points of, we'll call it superficial damage since it's not a bite. So we'll say 4 points of superficial damage. Okay. And then...
That bumps me into 2 aggravated.
Okay. And then the ghouls will go next. Okay.
So they can't move closer to me, but like if they had guns, they could shoot me. I mean, they just can't engage in melee.
So they're specifically not allowed to engage you in melee?
Yeah.
Okay. Even though you're in melee with them?
Yeah, they can't engage me in melee. Hold on, I'll pull it up. While being repelled, the creature cannot move closer to the hunter or engage them in brawl or melee, but they can still defend themselves if attacked and are free to use other powers. So they could use a range attack or anything like that.
Okay. Well, they're, I think, going to still try to take out the guy that's annoying them here. So let's
The
go
main
and do
threat, let's be honest.
Yeah, the main threat.
As injured as Rust is, they pick up a chair and hurl it at you for that last bit of damage.
First one, I got a crit on this one. So Reverend
God
Wood,
damn you, Jeff.
defend me? Are you,
No.
Curse your dice.
are you watching the same game I am? Okay, so the first one is going to be a difficulty of 7.
All right. So I get all of my defense dice here. I'm not going to waste an audience die because there's no chance. So it's just 7 dice for me. Which one's going to be unlucky? That's the unlucky one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 exactly because I got a crit.
Okay. You manage. Yeah, this is on me here. Yeah, okay. Literally maxing everything, and you guys are like, it's
crazy, the
5v2.
dice.
This is
I've trained my dice well for
Crazy.
me. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I just want to
next
point out that Rust was specifically made to fight the supernatural. He did get his ass handed to him by 4
The
guards with
Reverend,
batons.
however,
I
is
get what
just
you're
sort
saying.
of doing his thing.
But
here.
you're a hunter, and I do feel like you're a hunter, and like you read the book.
No, you're right.
And they're supposed to be so threatening, and I
Yeah, I
feel
think
like
I think the
both times I
vampires are a
bust
little
vampire out,
underpowered.
they're crazy weak.
I did make the
Yeah.
Reverend like a decent fighter. Like he's Batman.
Oh, I'm not worried
You
about
know.
you. I can kick your ass. 4 difficulty 4 in this second one.
All right, and that's 1 less die.
Yep.
So we'll take the one that rolled a 1. You're out. Shit, that's just 1 success.
Okay. So you're going to difficulty was 4, so you take 3 more points of superficial damage as he just
that
continues
bumps me
to
up to 5 aggravated. I've got 1 left.
one of the guys who you knock to the ground will stumble back up, but the other one will continue to attack. This one will be 5 points or 5 difficulty, excuse me. On the Reverend Wood.
2 successes.
And 3 more points, man, as you are just being
That maxes me out.
they're just pulling you down, and as they do, your head just smashes against the steps of the stairs, and you go out. Limp. You hear the sounds of your fencing sword, your short cane just scatter across the actual floor. We'll cut outside for a moment. So we see Maria and Alvin. Maria and Alvin, you can see that you are being shadowed. As you move around, you hear the sounds of the crunch, crunch, crunch of the footsteps and such. But you said you were going towards who's first?
So short section B towards Celie and Sarah, I believe.
Okay. You get over and you find that, we'll say, because we're doing this in dramatic time, you bust open the door to the trailer for Celie, and you see on like this little couch, not a very pretty couch, but it's a couch. You can see Celie suddenly pop up off the couch, like in shock at the sound of this. You see all these like toys and stuff that are scattered around, and she her eyes are kind of adjusting, and then she sees you. She gets up and she just runs at you at this point.
Celie, I'll give her a hug. Are you hurt? Did they do anything to you?
She kind of hugs you. She kind of grabs onto your legs, squeezes, and she says, "Where's mommy? I want mommy."
Let's go. I'll take you to her. We'll go home.
So you start going back outside, and you can see that now in front of you, like as you climb down the steps into the trailer, there are about 20 of these citizens of Sunset West that are kind of all there, almost feral. Like a few of them are almost on like kind of their knees are sort of squatting at this point, and like some of them are kind of like dragging their fingernails against the asphalt of the ground. They're not getting too close to you just yet, but like they're kind of watching and watching. Okay. Inside, Reverend Wood is down. Rust, you hear the door to the clubhouse open, and standing in the doorway is the other guy who had escorted both Maria and Alvin out, and he says, "What the fuck?" And so now there's the vampire. There are 4 of these guys who have just tackled Reverend Wood to the ground and sort of jammed his head into the steps, and then there are all these others around. Okay, what would you like to do?
He's going to try to tee off against the vampire again, expecting that this is his last act alive. He's going to try to hit him.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I think max the difficulty at 7. I
like it. Yeah. 8, 6, 7. 7. Okay, that was it. So, and I did get a 1 on the die. I'm going to spend a point of willpower to re-roll 3 dice. 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I got 7 successes, so I got 7 exactly. But I did get 1 on a desperation dice, so I guess the danger is going to go up by 1.
Danger is now maxed out, so we can't go any higher. Okay, and since you succeeded, do you have any bonus? Is there any like bonus damage on this thing on top of that? You have like the way a weapon has?
No, it's 0. So it was just whatever additional damage. So yeah, nothing.
You still managed to kind of keep him at bay, but he doesn't. You don't see any sort of damage.
Oh, actually, and I've got a roll actually to keep that for the ward not to go down. Since I struck out at him. Yeah, the ward's still up.
Okay. All right. So then you've got 4 guys in melee, or 5 guys if you count the vampire in melee. Vampire already basically defended himself, so he's gone. Then you have the others who, at this point, they know they can't get to you as they've tried. You could see them sort of struggling. Especially the one who's like, there's one from the door who's just going to start running in unaware of what's transpired, but it's just going to charge in. And I know these guys do have guns. So let me see if I remember what gun I gave them. Just a handgun. Just checking. I think it was medium. Yeah.
Mediums +3.
Yeah, 9 millimeters. So it's a medium. Okay, so I'll say they're gonna shoot kneecaps.
That's fair.
You can tell that they're not super into trying to kill you for reasons. So yeah, you're right next to them. So dexterity plus athletics for defense on this.
Okay. Not so good.
And
they are supernatural, so I'll use my desperation dice on it.
Yes, these are ghouls, so they would trigger that.
9, 8, 6, 9. 4 successes, so probably not enough.
Yeah, the difficulty would have been 5, so that's 4 points of damage then.
So my aggravated bar is completely full.
So your leg explodes as the bullet goes through it. It erupts like a grapefruit, and you just see this expulsion of bone and tissue and blood. You fall. I would imagine your magical wards will eventually fade. Maybe not instant, but they'll probably fade.
I think probably they'd go down as soon as I maxed out my health bar, because I mean it's a concentration sort of thing, so I can't imagine being able to.
And so as the gunshot goes off, you're also going to see, you hear the sounds suddenly as you're falling, of them kind of scrambling. The vampire saying something along the lines of, "Grab him. We'll take him downstairs. No more. There's enough for him." And like you hear them kind of grabbing, like the squeaking of their steps on the marble floor and everything. And you feel like you're basically out, like you're out of the fight. You're miles away. Your eyes are kind of blinking in and out. As they go to grab your wrist and start pulling you, you feel yourself kind of dragging across this cold marble floor. And that's when you hear the sounds of, as the sounds of like the mirrors and the stained glass inside begin to crack. Reverend, you hear this, I'll say, as well, as like you kind of, much like Wendell Drebin, like your head is kind of caved in a little bit right at the eye. You can see that you've suffered some kind of terrible bone breakage, sort of to the sort of this area, and you look up and you watch as they're like dragging the body of Rust into this, like around the staircase, right? Like looks like they're going somewhere else with it. And then you hear the sounds of the cracking, and you watch in full view, or maybe you're just hallucinating here near death. You watch as the shattering of this mirror suddenly just drops down in the form of this large mirror glassy spider, and it just drops on the floor. You say anything or do anything?
I'm like half out of it. Rust is all I'd be able to say, I think.
Okay. So then we'll go back outside for a moment. And we've got Alvin, we've got Maria. You are running around. Is that correct? I would imagine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got her in a P front position.
Okay. So we'll say, how about this? We don't have to necessarily play out the finding of every single one. But I'll tell you this. To speed this up, you kind of run around. You're constantly being followed. You can tell each time the crowd's kind of getting closer and closer and closer. And a few times they kind of come up and are taking like little pot shots at you. Like they really seem like deranged and feral. And like when you look at their faces, like even though these are older people, their skin is very like lacking of wrinkles, but at the same time you can see veins kind of popping here and there as if they're undergoing some weird kind of transformation. And they kind of lunge at you like skittish like. And anytime you kind of get close, you smash at them to kind of shoo them away. But we'll say that you managed to collect Seely. You managed to collect your sister Evie, who, when you find Maria, you notice that she is bound, actually. You step into the room, you can see that it's an empty trailer. She's on the ground. She's got a hood over her head, and she's got zip ties on her wrists and on her legs as you step inside and find her. Do you say anything or do anything when you find her?
Maria is going to immediately take the covering over her face. Evie, I got you. Evie?
And she kind of comes to, and you can see that she's got, looks like someone's kind of went to town on her as well. And she's like, Maria, what the fuck? What the fuck have you gotten me into?
I'm so sorry. We gotta hurry. We gotta hurry. And so she's like ripping and cutting open the zip ties.
So you start dragging her along. You find Ed Johnson, who is in a similar state when you find, and then eventually, and you do your introductions, etc. And then eventually, as you make your way to Sarah's trailer, you watch as like a group of these things suddenly screech. Like there's now 30 or 40 of them around you. This, like, they're kind of following you around here, and they're making, like, for whatever reason. And all of a sudden, like in unison, all of them, their heads just whip back, and you just hear like this terrible screech echoing across all of them. Both of you go ahead and roll a composure / we'll just do another, maybe a stamina. It's like a deafening screech.
Rolling 5 here.
6.
Got 3.
Difficulty of 4. So take 1 point of superficial willpower, Alvin. Maria?
Also, I've got willpower that I can. Well, so I'm going to take superficial either way. So
What would you roll? I don't know what you roll.
3.
You would take 1. So it doesn't make any sense to spend. Yeah.
Got it.
Okay. But as they're kind of screeching and howling, you see all of a sudden they just burst and run off away from you, and they're all like kind of some of them like running literally like they're wolves, you know, and others are running, you know, and are moving at this great speed. Others are just running like normal people, but this whole movement is kind of heading off in that direction. So eventually, you make it to Sarah's. You open the door, and you can see Sarah is sitting, no hood over her head, no binds on. She's sitting on that floral couch that you saw. She's got a Bible sitting in her lap. She's kind of flipping through it, and she looks up, and she sees the two of your faces, and she says, "What did my husband do?"
He didn't come with us.
She kind of like puts her head down. See her kind of close her eyes, and she very, very carefully and gently closes the book. And then she stands up, straightens her skirts. You can see that there's like water in her eyes, like tears.
He was heroic for a troubled one.
She shakes her head. There's no time for those words now. We'll memorialize him later. We need to go.
Is
Quickly.
Ben waiting outside?
So you go outside, and at this point, the entire place is empty. Like, you don't see anyone anymore. The lights are still dark because they never put them back on. It's still just that big beacon, but you don't see any of these creatures are following you anymore. And you continue to hear the sounds of that strange screeching. There's a free ride right towards the front of the gates. You can see the bends on the other side.
Just giving us an opening. Yeah, we'll just go.
You run, you slam the gate, you know, to let it slowly open. You run out, you stumble into the bends. Ben looks back and like, what about? And then, you know, Sarah just shushes him, shush, go. And off you guys drive. We still hear the sounds, as you're driving away, you still hear the sounds of that kind of horrible, horrible screeching.
Maria's sort of looking, like sitting in the back of the SUV, kind of looking behind.
Okay. So you see at some point the lights flicker around the clubhouse. Not entirely sure what that's about, but they flicker. But eventually you no longer, you drive so far away, you can't see any further. And all of you drive off without many real issues. So I'm not sure exactly the best order of doing this. So Alvin and Maria, what would you be doing? Would you say after? Would you eventually go back and check or something like that? Like over the next coming days and things, would you go back and check or anything? Did you do anything? Is there anything in particular? Assume that you don't get any communication from Reverend Wood, Rust, anything like that.
I would say that Maria's got a drone. So Maria would definitely kind of scope out the area and do some passes with the drone to see what she can see.
Okay. So we'll say, we're going to do it slightly out of order. So we say you've got your drone maybe the next day circling overhead. And the very next day, strangest thing, it's just flying over top. There's, which you can, when you get there, there's tons and tons of vehicles. Like you can see locker room control vehicles left and right, everywhere, right? But you also notice that there are bodies like on the ground everywhere, dozens and dozens and dozens of them, like all just scattered about, kind of that like as if they're circling around that kind of the parking lot of this clubhouse. And you can see like there's all sorts of these like official like paramilitary people kind of moving around. You can see they got big guns on. There's like all this sort of cordoning off. They're not letting any vehicles in. Like people are kind of getting flagged away, et cetera, et cetera. So you can never get like too close. Once you get a little close, at one point your drone kind of gets shot at, but you just see it everywhere. Alvin, is there anything you're doing over the next couple of days?
I won't really like go to back to the park to catch up or like get any information. I'll just like, if Maria passes on anything.
Okay. So some time passes. You never hear from Reverend Wood. Never hear from Rust. They never, and like you presume what happened. You got people out. Maybe even Sarah starts, putting together memorial services for both. Let's flash back for a second. As we go suddenly cut back inside the clubhouse. And we are looking through the eyes of Reverend Wood. His eyes are kind of blinking, blood kind of getting in his eyes. The one good eye is still kind of working. The other eye is kind of crushed. You watch as this glassy spider demon just starts leaping left and right and just ripping these ones to shreds. Just see it. Quixote, you're barely in consciousness, right? Your mind's like wafting on that line between death and life. And you see this too. And the both of you, like in Rust, you were like getting dragged. You were kind of get like a couple steps down this staircase, this cold concrete staircase, when you hear like the sounds of gunfire, of screaming, of like blood curdling pain, like familiar sounds to you. You hear that crunching and that cracking. Are either of you two doing anything in this moment?
You hear Rust start to laugh, just a really low laugh. And his head lolls, and he's like, "You are right, Granny. I was just the dream of a dead boy. Welcome home."
Reverend, maybe you hear the vague sound of Rust, maybe some of that you catch, maybe all of it. It's up to you. Do you do anything?
I look down. I see just blood. My eyes caked shut. I see the demon, and my vision kind of fades in, and I just kind of fall back. The only words that come to my mouth, I'm trying to find words, but it feels like all the moisture has just left my body. My mouth is dried up like a broken pot. My tongue sticks to the roof of my mouth. I lay in the dust of death. Psalms 22. I just fall backwards.
We watched like for a moment as he's laying there. Around him, the bodies of these ghouls have been just ripped to shreds. We see like tucked underneath the staircase, we see the leg with a beautiful silky blue-gray suit just kind of like shaking as if something's working. And then crawling out from around it is this glassy demon. It just and it just slowly, like hearing like the last words of Reverend Wood, slowly kind of crawls up on top. It looks down at him, head to the left, head to the right. Everything's reflective. So we're seeing like 100 different woods and all these broken shards of glass and mirror. And then it kind of rears back. We cut for a second to black. And we just hear this terrible thud. Then like as like the camera's black, we just hear the sounds of like something walking on crunchy glass or mirror, and the camera comes up and we see like a door swing open. It's the door to the clubhouse. And there we see Quixote Rust upright, bits of glass kind of protruding from his skin all over, eyes just miles away. Like the wound of his leg has been kind of replaced, and you see the whole part of his leg from his knee downward is just this kind of glassy substitute. And he's just like walking down, and like just like a sea parting, like all of these like strange, confused feral creatures just like watch as he just disappears. Alvin, Maria, I'm going to give you, if there's anything you would say as we're hitting like the tail end here before I close it down, what would you say? Anything you always would do? I have a couple ideas, but I'll throw it to you first.
Yeah, I sort of go back the keys of Riffin's Woods Lexus, back of the trunk, 50 G's. Pass half of it to Maria. Take the rest myself, drop it off for my wife and my kid. Sort of, I want to say like they're in danger if I keep on doing this, so I sort of need to split from them. And I can't really tell her. It's just troubled that way.
So do we see maybe get like a cinematic scene of your home? We see like a moving van or something, or like a truck that you borrowed, and you're like, are you like moving out, or are you going with them? Like, are you like staying together, or are you separating from them?
I'm separating from them because they're clearly in danger if I'm to continue this.
So maybe we see like you like kind of loading up a truck or something like that. You got your motorcycle in the back or whatever. Got Celie on the sidewalk kind of crying a bit. Like give her a big hug, and like you can see your wife in the back is kind of like with this disapproving look at you and doesn't seem too unhappy about this solution. You start driving off. Okay. Maria, what about you?
I think you would find Maria where she had buried Katja.
Okay.
And so you would just see her, just kind of kneeling.
Is it the same place you buried Rena? Are there two graves or just one? I can't remember. I can't remember. Did you do it separate or together?
Separate, I believe. And just going to be, sort of that classic kind of just telling her what's happened and just kind of discussing events and, just kind of that somber.
Okay. We'll say like a little montage starts to happen. A couple things we see pop up one after the other. Just kind of rapid fires. See Alvin kind of maybe parked by his dojo. Reflection in the windshield as like Fists of Harmony. The lettering's getting removed. As it looks like the strip mall has been sold. We see all the signage of the different companies that have purchased it. Coming soon, Valley Medcore location. It's popping up. We see this. We see this little TDG sign, totally not seen, just kind of hidden. All these other bigger signs and symbols are showing up. Maybe we see Alvin and Linda driving east. We see the Superstition Springs Mountains. We see a road sign that says Apache Junction. up ahead. We see a dust storm coming over top. Maybe we're going wolf hunting. Maria, I would say maybe you go back at some point and check out the Whitehall. Just start digging into that. Get your uncle and aunt out of that place. At some point, we see like maybe like your wall, your investigation wall. We see all the different like suspects, what's going on. Like this, you get the name Annabelle Rosa kind of pops up. Some kind of ghost story that seems to be popping up. But all of like your plotting and your thinking is suddenly interrupted by a knock on the door. This like really loud rap. You go and you answer it. You're greeted by like police badges and a voice that says, Miss Baum, we'd like to ask you a few questions about Katya Bosco. And then we fade from that. We'll say we pick up maybe at a diner. Camera's kind of hovering near the bottom, like the linoleum floor. It's kind of glistening. About half the tables and booths are filled. During what's seen, it's like some kind of breakfast rush. The sounds of laughter, conversation can be heard all sorts of places. Pots and pans, sizzling of bacon and eggs. Then suddenly there's a little ding as the bell to the door rings. Camera looks back, but we're all on the floor still. And all we see as the door swings open are these like bare, dirty feet, kind of shuffling and stepping inside, moving leaving a trail of like mud and grime and blood behind. We track those feet up to the counter. When the camera comes up, you get this confused look on this serving waitress. She's a middle-aged woman, curly hair. She's got what looks like a coffee pot in her hand. You can see that on her little logo. It says Black Canyon Diner. And she's like, "You need any help, dear?" Camera turns around and we see the familiar face of Verena Cooper, covered in dirt and grime and blood, half of her head kind of wrenched and ripped free. Her eyes kind of go wide, and we see this tiny little speck of like red and orange like pop up in the iris. And everything goes black, and we just hear the sounds of screams and crashing. And that's where we'll end season 1 of Your City Lies in Dust.
Let's go.
Awesome.
Okay.
Nicely done.
Oh, beautiful. Beautiful.
Talk amongst yourselves for a minute. I just lost sound.
Oh boy.
Tell you what, I knew I should have stabbed Rena a little harder in the head. I mean, clearly.
Yeah, she was the one with issues here, Mr.
Yes,
Class Demon.
clearly.
Next
Well,
time.
thank you all
man.
for saving Sarah. I couldn't do it myself.
Of course.
Hey,
so
thanks
funny.
for sticking around with Rust. I mean,
Sarah was a hunter as well. Like I took points in her, so she knew what was
Yeah.
going on. So I figured she
Exactly.
knew the risks.
That's how
If
I
it was my
treating it.
kids, that would have been a different story.
Right. That's how I was treating it. That's why I was like figuring she knows the score. She's not going to freak out here.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, okay.
Oh goodness.
I feel like Rust wouldn't die. I feel like Rust, like maybe like he loses, like it's more like he loses himself as like Granny Long like sort of takes over at that point. But he is a beast. Like it is so hard. Like I just look at it, I'm like, I can't go higher difficulty. Like 7 difficulty is like nearly impossible. That's the score of the difficulty,
Supposedly.
right? So yeah, basically what I've always
he is a supernatural fighting machine. Now, of course, once his willpower, because every time you use that, you take 1 point of superficial willpower damage. So I mean, it's diminishing results. But yeah,
Sure.
if he's got 2 or 3 good rounds in him, like if that second round, if I had gotten more than 7 successes,
I know. He was up to, because of all the damage that you and Reverend Wood had done. It's all superficial.
Thank you for
but that,
including me.
But that's actually, you did some. You did do some. It was up to 4 aggravated. He had 4 aggravated health damage. He had 7 total health. So he was at 4 aggravated. So it definitely could have gone bad. They did have guns, but like I mean, part of their interest, like they were interested. Like everyone's kind of interested in Rust. It's weird. Yeah, like so they kind of
He's
want
too
to pull you apart. They want to dissect you. But I also feel like Granny Demon's just too strong. There's no way.
She's
Well,
badass.
Solomon Wood also has a higher power on his side. The
Oh, yeah?
highest power, even more powerful than Granny Demon. So
That does not seem to be the case, or it just didn't show up today. Maybe I don't know. Like, he's got this.
The scorekeeping from the.
Well, I'm fairly certain.
No one knows
that-
the grand
Great.
plan, like you can't predict how it'll turn out. But
the Reverend's, up high, looking down, going, "Oh, Rust, you blew it. Yeah, you let go at the last second there." And
Yeah. Well,
Oh my gosh.
God, that was so much fun.
I was like, man, this is going to be rough. Like, I think you guys are like, I knew I was going to win the fight. Like, I think the fight wasn't too worried about. I'm like, I don't want to lose the vampire. Like, you guys get moments fighting the vampire. I'm like, oh, not yet. I didn't even get a bite off of them. It's so crazy. It's so weird.
I knew I wouldn't last long as soon as I started taking hits, so I had to try to go for the vampire.
I do think it was sort of interesting that you stepped up. Like they wouldn't have been able to do anything. Well, I mean, the vampire has a rip ability. He can like rip blood from you at a distance, so he could potentially have done that. And then I mean, the other ones had guns, but like they didn't want to kill, like they didn't care about Wood. They would have killed Wood, but like they didn't want to kill Rust. Like Rust, like people know about
people
Rust.
care about me, Jeff.
Death by 1,000 cuts from the Reverend.
Don't
Oh man,
And the Reverend's ego.
I don't know about that.
you're killing me, Jeff. You're killing me,
Don't
literally.
I literally, I mean, you kind of killed yourself. I feel like I didn't roll any attack die. I set a difficulty. I roll a D10, and if it's a crit,
You were remembered as heroic in
To be
your
honest,
sacrifice.
Quixote put himself down too, because if he hadn't been stupid on that bus, he'd have had at least 2 more rounds with that vampire.
I was thinking, man, God, I just feel like, they would take some pop shots. I feel like at a certain point they would take some pop shots.
The testosterone
sense.
there
Yeah.
was very high.
Yeah.
I thought you
I
were
was
more
thinking to
than
myself,
generous with that, Jeff.
Yeah.
oh, I did too. I was thinking to myself, this is what Quixote would do, but this is probably the stupidest thing possible. But I was trying to stay as this
I thought it was great.
19-year-old kid with the emotional strength of a 13-year-old
Yeah.
with
Aaron,
some serious
you have no
post-traumatic
idea.
stress syndrome.
You have no idea how often that thought process happens to me, where like, this is what he would do, but that is so stupid.
I think Rust is an amazing character, and
I loved it.
I believe that even though he is no longer necessarily Quixote Rust, he's something. He's out there in the universe, and he could come back in.
That's
It was about halfway through the Chronicle when I started to feel, he's losing this fight. He's losing it. He's going to go
Even
back.
the intro today was from Granny's perspective.
No, yeah,
Well, I knew the finale. I
that
was
was
like,
awesome. Yeah.
I don't think Russ is going to live through this, so it's time to change things up a little.
So yeah, DJ Quiver. Yeah, we do plan. To do more Hunter. I'm not sure exactly when, but we are in this spot. So we do alternate Fridays. We did different games every Friday. One week we're doing Blade Runner. The other week we're doing, we were previously doing this, but Aaron's going to be running a game for us. Aaron, you want to tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so in 2 Fridays, we're going to come back and join us. We're going to do a little bit of character creation for some Conan, the Age Undreamed of, Modifius 2D20 game. We're gonna see how this crew survives in Hyperborea.
Awesome.
For a while.
Awesome. So let's see, current schedule coming up. So tomorrow we've got One Ring scheduled. We might have to cancel, but One Ring is currently scheduled. Monday, we're going to be doing Holler. So we'll be back to that. Tuesday, nothing next Tuesday. And then next Friday will be Blade Runner. So we're back to that as we alternate between those 2 things. And then Steven, when is your Forbidden Lands game coming up?
February 7th. I'm very excited.
Yeah, man.
Aaron will be there. Melissa will be there. I'm probably pointing the wrong direction. Jeff will be there. And Kipser as well. This will be her first game on the channel. We made characters already. So we're all set, ready to go. And we will be giving away a set of dice.
It's true.
So February 7th, show up and win some gold, almost real gold dice. Like it's really gold.
I have not been told that it is not real gold.
So it very well could be. We need to do a test. Once you ship it, once you win them, do a test and tell us.
Yeah, and we also are going to give away another set of dice next Friday for our next Blade Runner game. So we're going to be getting another set of those. So our friends at Norse Foundry are hooking us up. So we're hooking you up. So yeah, come check out their streams. We don't have a Vampire the Masquerade game, but yeah, I do want to do Werewolf. Far Realms Gaming. I do want to do Werewolf when it comes out. So That is the plan. So our second season of Your City Lies in Dust, whether that's a hunter chronicle or a werewolf chronicle, I don't know yet. We'll see what we get to first. If werewolf comes out soon enough and we're like at the point where we want to switch games again, then we could do werewolf, or we could just wait and do hunter again. So it's gonna be one of the two. I don't know if you want to do vampire though. We've talked about it. We're kind of iffy on vampire, but we definitely want to do more hunter and werewolf. Those two are stepping up. DJ, I don't know if we have a release date on werewolf yet, do we?
The website just said coming soon.
Yeah.
So
Can't
be soon enough, but
yeah, we do have an established. We have established sort of like our little universe here in the Southwest. We mentioned there's werewolves. We mentioned there's vamps. Like obviously we focus on vamps for the most part this one, but there is a werewolf sort of contingents and around the area. So hopefully we'll learn about them some more. Whether we're doing it in a hunter where you're chasing them, or whether we're doing it in werewolf where you're playing them, we'll figure that out later this year probably. But yeah, I think that is all. Thanks to everyone for playing and dealing with my screw ups with rules, because I bungled some rules this. I gotta read these better. But yeah, that was fun. I hope you guys had fun.
Great.
that was a blast. Amazing.
Okay. Fake grade from Distal's Place. Thank you, Pixelated Bunny. Oh, jeez. So yeah, speaking of raids, let's raid our buddies over at Defenders of Cobalt. They are playing some Heart. So I'm going to go and get that started up. If you want to go ahead and follow that. Follow us too if you haven't already. Go check out our YouTube channel, Adventures in Lollygagging. You search for it, you find it. We have all sorts of games up there. We just started up a Call of Cthulhu Horror on the Jordan Express campaign. We got what's it called? Blade Runner up there. We've got all of our hunters up there. And a number of other games, from One Ring to Mutineer Zero to Alien to all sorts of things. So go check it out. We'll catch you all later. Thanks for hanging out. Players, thank you so much. We'll see you later. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Good night.